right. We are finally live. What is going on, everybody? This is Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. And with me, as always, Jez Corden of Windows Central. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy! We are back, and, I just want to apologize to everyone for missing last week, because pain happened. Horrible pain!
Yeah, but different kinds of pain for me than for you. I was hit with, the flu.
Was it COVID?
No. I tested negative for that. I woke up on Friday, and I was just completely out of it. I woke up similar to last year when I was supposed to do Boom's show, and I was just like, oh man, I'm really sick, which ended up being pneumonia. And I was just like, I don't have no energy to do anything. And then we were going to do this show on Monday, but Monday, hell came to Britain, right?
Yes, it did.
So what was it like dealing with that extreme weather over there?
Oh my god, it was hell. It was hell on earth. My walls are really thick, and they're lined with wall insulation, and my roof is full of wall insulation. My windows are triple glazed, and they don't really open that far. And even if they did open, it didn't matter because the ambient temperature outside was 39 degrees Celsius, which is 115 Fahrenheit in American terms. And but it wasn't just that. It was the fact that just the fact that I've got the router in here and my laptop in here. It was making my bedroom so warm that it was unbearable. I shot a temperature gun at the wall, and it was 45 degrees Celsius. And I was just like, nah, I can't handle this. I was just nothing I could do to get cool. I had a fan, it didn't do anything. It just blew hot. It was like sitting in front of a radiator. The fan was just blowing hot air around. So I was just like, this ain't happening. I could have had two fans blowing on me during the podcast, but the mic would have picked it up, and it just would have been a nightmare. It just wasn't going to work. So I figured we'd just skip, rather than do a Monday show where, there's tons of mic noise, background noise, and all that stuff. So I don't really have the proper setup, with the noise cancelling mic and all that kind of stuff. And I will say, Rand, next year I am definitely going to invest in some actual real air conditioner, I think, because it's getting to that point, man. It's getting to that point. Although today, it's only been 17°C. So it's it was over 100 Fahrenheit last week, but now it's a very cozy 60 or something like that, and raining. So that's the British weather for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got the air conditioning on right now. It's 92 here in Chicago, but it's actually been a pretty hot summer here. So yeah. We could have dealt with the weather that Britain has, but you guys don't have air conditioning over there, and you guys' infrastructure isn't built to withstand the heat like it is here. So, yeah, when you said it was that hot, I was like, yeah, we probably ain't gonna be able to do a show, because last time it was that hot, your computer wasn't working properly. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad everything's okay. We're back podcasting after a week off, and there's some interesting things here to talk about. It's funny, guys, when the whole Microsoft Netflix rumor came up, Jez was like, I want to talk about this. I really, really, really want to talk about this. And I'm like, okay, well, we were gonna do the show on Monday, and then we couldn't. So are you still chomping at the bit to talk about it, Jez?
I mean, it's all calmed down a bit now. When there's breaking news and you feel hyped about it, it's like, yeah, I really want to get into this, but then it's sort of the dust settles a little bit. But we'll still talk about it, because I still think it's quite interesting. Although there's been further developments since then, which kind of changed the argument again. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah, we got a lot of topics here to talk about. So if you guys do us a big favor, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Share this out on social media. Let people know that we are live. But Jez, this week's episode is powered by Manscaped, is it not?
It is indeed once again powered by Manscaped. And Rand, I have to ask you, crotch discomfort hurting your game? Fear no more. The Kings.
Let me ask you this. Does your Manscaped Boxers 2.0, did they help you out during that extreme heat wave in the UK?
Oh, they're in the wash. They're in the wash.
They're in the wash. So you weren't able to
them.
use them during that 120-degree weather? Were your balls just sweating off? Like, what's going on?
I was just naked, man. Screw it. I just went naked. No, not really. No. Man, this is the thing. I don't even have any clothes that are suitable for summer. Like, I barely got any shorts or anything. So, yeah, I should have had some Manscaped boxers, some more Manscaped boxers. I've only got one pair of Manscaped boxers 2.0, which are the really good ones. I've also got Manscaped boxers 1.0, but they're a bit too tight for me because they only go up to 2XL, and I'm a big guy, you know. I'm a big guy, but the boxers 2.0 they're a bit looser fitting, so they do fit me even at 2XL. So, you know, I'll get into some boxers 2.0 because the boxers 2.0 are very good, and they are available from Manscaped.com, 20% off with our code XB2. Which gets you 20% off, gets you free shipping worldwide. And Rand, you know the Boxers 2.0? They even trademarked the package holder. I don't know what the technical term is, but they call it the jewel pouch.
Where you put your family jewels.
Where you put your family jewels. It's got like a little, you could sort of slip it to the side so you can, like, you know, do your business without taking them all the way off. You know, if you're in the airport or something and you need to, like, you know, take a leak, you can leverage the jewel pouch on the Boxers 2.0, 20% off of free shipping, code XB2.
But where's the ad read? Where's Jez in his American accent doing the ad read? Huh?
I did it.
No, you didn't.
That's what you get.
You stopped. You stopped like a sentence in, and I cut you off.
Do I need? Yeah, you cut me off.
Yeah, well, because it's supposed to be like, you know, we're supposed to. Go ahead, read it. People are dying to hear your American ad read impression.
Breathe. Sleek, soft, comfortable, and flexible. The brand new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped. Take. Wait. Okay, seriously. The brand new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped. Take your balls to the royal ball throne. I don't know what the royal ball throne is. But either way, you can get them for 20% off with code XB2. And basically anything they've got there. Razors, shavers, cologne, everything at manscaped.com with code XB2. And that's all ad read I can handle, Rand. I'm done, man. Whew. Yeah, I need acting lessons, maybe.
Yeah,
BJ wants me to do Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man Randy Savage. No, I can't do Macho Man. He's good. He speaks to that when Macho Man Randy Savage cuts a promo, he sounds like he's losing his mind. So, oh yeah, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, Massel says, "Is this how Brits think we speak?" Apparently, man. Apparently.
Nah, I think Rand speaks like this.
That's
how Rand speaks.
Yeah. So thank you to Manscaped for continuing to partner with the Xbox 2 podcast. And like Jez said,
thanks so much.
You can use the code XB2 at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping on everything at the store, including the jewel pouches for the Boxers 2.0.
The jewel pouch.
Yeah, the jewel pouch.
Right.
The jewel pouch.
Oh, okay. That's the ad read section. Oh my god, I'm exhausted.
Oh
no, I just opened Steam VR by accident.
What?
That's
Steam VR?
I just opened Steam VR by accident. Headset not connected. Yeah, you're damn right. I'm podcasting. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay, professional podcasting.
So before we get into some of these topics and we talk about some of the interesting things going on, we had a couple super chats I wanted to read through. We got a question here from CJad93 to start off. I mean, it was the very first thing. He says, "Hey, Rand and Jez, Just wondering if there's any update on the Game Pass family plan, such as a release date. Have a great weekend, guys. Yeah, Jez,
Yeah,
you leaked
family
this
plan.
a few months ago. We thought there was a potential it would be announced at the showcase, but it wasn't.
Yes.
And then it wasn't
No, it
even
wasn't.
talked about at the press briefing before the showcase.
No, it wasn't.
Which kind of was like if it was coming this year, you would expect it to be announced, but maybe it's still something they could announce closer to the fall. I don't know. What do you think Microsoft is? Do you think it's coming this year? Do you think it's a next year thing? Do they have it ready for the onslaught of games coming in the first half of next year? What's your read on the whole family Game Pass plan?
Well, it's interesting because the reason I thought it was coming soon was because the source of the information. The source of the information was like the point where Microsoft starts to talk about it with partners and external people. So it's kind of like it felt like it was getting to that point where it was being ready to put out there, because like when things are, still in development, they're a bit more tight-lipped about it, right? So I figured like it was a pretty good time frame for them to be like talking to their partners about it, and then with the E3 coming up, but it never materialized. So I do think it's still pretty imminent, given the fact that they have started talking about it to a broader circle of people. But honestly, don't know. I mean, maybe something held it up. Maybe they're waiting for a big sort of co-op game to drop and to sort of link it up with that, like, this major co-op game is out now and play with your friends using Xbox Game Pass Household Edition or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything recently, but it's still obviously coming, and it's just a matter of time, really.
Yeah, just a matter of, do you do it this year when you don't really have anything? Do you do it next year when you have potential like Starfield, Redfall, Diablo 4, and a whole bunch of other stuff? Or maybe they're still working out some of the kinks.
Yeah, kinky.
They could have dropped it alongside the game that's tearing up the Game Pass charts, Jez. I don't know if you've seen it, but everybody's talking about this game called PowerWash Simulator.
Have you played it?
I have not played it. I don't have any desire to power wash in real life, let alone in a video game.
You've no desire to power wash?
I mean, I was on Defining
Dude.
Duke recently with Lord Cognito and Ben Smith, who edits all the stuff for the show, and he talked about how he just picked it up on a whim and he's like addicted to it. And a couple of my buddies that I game with on Xbox, a couple of them addicted to playing it as well. And I saw Benji Sales tweet about how, like, if you go to the Game Pass app, PowerWash Simulator is passed up Halo to be like the fourth most popular game on Xbox Game Pass. So
that is intriguing. I think like the heat wave probably maybe helped with that, at least in the UK. But there is something cathartic about it, man. I was playing it. I was playing it at my cousin's, using XCloud, because I like during the heat wave, I went up to my cousin's house, and she has like a big Victorian house which has like thin walls, blocks the sun but doesn't retain the heat, and it was so much cooler there. But obviously, I didn't have my Xbox there, so I was like, I'm gonna fire up XCloud, and lo and behold, right there on XCloud, right at the top was PowerWash Simulator, and I was like, okay, let's do some chores. Like I was just said in chat, doing chores in reality? No, doing chores in a video game? Let's go. I mean, and dude, there's something about it. There's something just nice about cleaning. But I'm someone who kind of likes cleaning in real life too. I'm constantly managing my desk, constantly wiping dust down, and I got my little eco cleaning wipes here, for cleaning my displays and making sure everything's nice and shiny. So maybe it's just my kind of game. Yeah, do you not like tidying around? Do you not like cleaning?
Nah, I've never been. I don't know, like the whole simulator stuff, which is great for people. It never really. I don't know. It didn't really speak to me. I know there's like lawnmower simulator and all these different simulator games for everything you can job simulator and all these different things. And for some reason, like a lot of those games are in Game Pass. Maybe they're just good time wasters. People say like PowerWash Simulator is like a good game where you can play in a party and just turn your brain off and just talk to your friends or listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook.
Dude, you can't turn your brain off playing PowerWash Simulator. It's pretty hot.
It's just
tough,
getting rid of the dirt. I just thought it was interesting that it's blown up the charts. Apparently, if you go on Steam, it's the second highest reviewed game of the whole year, only behind God of War 2018.
Oh my god!
So you never know where these type of games just come out and break through. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Flame has been a member for 14 months. Says, "Good afternoon, Xbox Bros. I find it hilarious that Xbox got Discord before PlayStation, despite PlayStation announcing that partnership way earlier." Yeah, we'll be talking about the whole Discord situation soon enough. So,
yep, indeed.
Look at Miles.pa saying, "Rand and Jez, two of the hunkiest Xbox podcasters on the scene."
Damn right.
I see Miles online every night playing like Multiversus or Evil Dead or something. And I always just wait for an invite to play with Miles, but I never get one from him,
Ah, man.
But it is what it is. It is what it is. So, Jez, Xbox finally decided to release some games this year.
What game is that?
In fact, they released two new pieces of content on the same day this week.
Yes, they did.
And I played both of them. I think you played one of them. Although, stay tuned for next week because Jez played Peppa Pig, and we will have gameplay of Peppa Pig running during the podcast. So, before we talk about that stuff, did you enjoy your time spent with my friend Peppa Pig?
Dude, I have to tell you, I think Peppa Pig might actually be the best game ever made.
Shut up. Stop lying.
There's something about it, man. Something dark and mysterious lurking behind all the color and all the cheery British accents. There's like a subversive subtext. I don't know what it is, but it's there somewhere, and I will figure it out. I think like maybe Peppa Pig is like a teaser for the next Hideo Kojima game. Maybe. No. Yes. No. Rand.
Peppa Pig. No. We ain't doing no Peppa Pig, Jez.
It's kind of cute though. It's like an interactive episode of the TV show. So if you're like a little kid or you're a parent with a little kid, it's like it's the perfect game for a little kid who likes Peppa Pig. Okay, you don't really do anything. You just walk around. You talk to people. You splash around in the mud. It's cute, man. You're not a fan of Peppa Pig, Rand?
No, but I will say this: these Game Pass does mean more kid-friendly family content, and I know like us hardcore gamers that are on podcasts that tweet on Twitter and discuss merits of certain things, and are always like, we need more AAA stuff, which I'm of the opinion they do, but also they do need kid-friendly content because not everybody that plays video games is a 30-year-old or 40-year-old dude or chick. There are a lot of young kids that play, so I did see a lot of like parents that were extremely happy that not only Peppa Pig was added, but what was that other game? I had it pictured in my mind. It came out around the same time. It was
The Last of Us.
Not the Last of Us. Yes, The Last of Us was made for 10-year-olds. Paw Patrol.
Game for 10-year-olds. Halo.
Yeah, Lego game, as you say. Paw Patrol, right? I think they added that at the same time. There's a lot of parents saying, "Oh man, this is a big addition to Game Pass, adding these kids games." Which I agree. Like they should definitely have more of those, because you need to have content for every sort of big demographic that you can get. So I'm perfectly fine with Game Pass having stuff like Paw Patrol and having stuff like Peppa Pig. I've been saying like, hey, I want my Banjo Bros to have Banjo back to appeal to a younger audience or whatever. Like I'm totally cool with that, right? Netflix makes great mature content. They make great, middle-aged content, and they make great kids content. You need like basically everything, So it's like I'm perfectly cool. I mean, I'm not gonna play it, which is funny because if it was like 3 years ago, I would already have beaten Peppa Pig, because I don't know if you saw it. My buddy Maka posted a 45-minute walkthrough, which will get you the entire 1,000 gamer score, Jazz. 45 minutes to get you 1,000 gamer score in Peppa Pig.
Dude, I missed an achievement. I can't even get 100% in Peppa Pig, man.
Jesus. You're a true gamer. True gamer.
Dude, there was a quest to save Peppa Pig's little brother's dinosaur from a tree, but I got distracted and I went off picking up chicken eggs or something. And when I came back, my parents had saved the dinosaur from the tree and I couldn't get the achievement. So I ruined my playthrough, man. It's like a roguelike. I gotta do another run. Return or eat your heart out. Peppa Pig's the new roguelike in town.
Yeah. But our buddy Kay Asante in the chat says, as a dad, Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig was a win for me. So they definitely need to go after more kid-friendly stuff.
Yeah, there's been a lot of diversity here in Game Pass recently, even if we're not getting the big AAA cinematic single-player action bangers, As Dusk Falls has proven to be quite a surprise for me, because I had the lowest possible imaginable expectation of Dusk Falls. Because you know me, Rand, I don't like interactive narrative games.
No, you've talked about that at length. And you know what? Thanaros in the Super Chat says, F you to all those gamers, in quotes, playing Peppa Pig for easy 1,000 gamer score. Hey, man,
you get called out, man.
I didn't play it though. I would have though.
You played those Barbie games.
Yeah. If it was years ago, I totally would have. No shame. I wouldn't have pretended I wouldn't have. I would have been out there loud and proud, being like, I just played this game, got 1,000 gamer score. What are you gonna do? Nothing. Shut up. Sit down.
Oh man, but As Dusk Falls.
Actually, yes,
it gave me an experience I've never really had before on Xbox, which it's a rare thing to say, right?
Okay.
Because As Dusk Falls is, and I know other games have done this kind of thing in the past, so it's not unique. It's not completely unique, but it was the first time for me, playing this kind of game. But it was like I sat down to check out As Dusk Falls review copy that Microsoft sent, and I booted up the game, and then it came up with like, download the As Dusk Falls app to play with your friends. I was like, hang on a sec, was this announced? Did they actually announce this aspect of it, that you could play As Dusk Falls in multiplayer? Because I had no idea.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if I just missed it somehow.
You just don't pay attention.
Yeah. I just don't pay attention. Okay, fair enough. But I missed it and I didn't know. So I was like, oh wow, that's cool. Well, I'll go to my friend's place and we'll have some drinks and we'll play As Dusk Falls, and maybe it'll be terrible and it'll be boring and everyone will want to stop playing after 30 minutes or something. Fine. But we played it for a good 6 hours in multiplayer, and it was just me and my two friends who are Xbox gamers, and then my friend's mom, who's never played an Xbox game in her life, but she was able to join in and play with us on her iPad, using this app, and or Android tablet or wherever. So in As Dusk Falls, for those who don't know, As Dusk Falls is like it's a narrative adventure game. It's got like a visual novel. It looks a bit like a PowerPoint presentation. Even saying that, but the art's very good. When you move through dialogue choices, there's like still images that are a little bit animated here and there, but not too much. But it's made by a very small team. But the production values on the voice acting and the writing was actually far, far better than I would have expected. And the multiplayer stuff, you can sort of vote on the decisions and choices that your friends make, that your characters make or don't make. And not only that, you get like 3 attempts per chapter to overrule your friends, which proved to be hilarious in a party context. because you can overrule people overruling things. And like me and my friend were trying to pick the worst decisions possible just to see what would happen. And then like my other friends were like, no, let's do it properly, So there was this back and forth and these arguments, And at one point we were just spam overruling each other, desperate to get our decision in so we could, tip the story in the direction that we wanted to. And at the end of every chapter, it also showed you all the different branching paths you could take. So like there's a replay factor there as well if you really do like it. But I had a blast with it, man.
Yeah.
My favorite part was failing a quick time event on purpose, which caused a child to break his legs.
You're mean. And it's interesting because as everybody knows, Jez doesn't like story games, doesn't like walking sims, he doesn't like narrative adventures. So when he told me he liked this, I was like, that's shocking. That is definitely shocking.
I was shocked.
So I also played it. Thanks to Xbox for sending me over a review code. And I, very much like Jez, I had literally no expectations for this game. None. Because the trailers, they showed it off in 2020 at the E3 showcase. And it was kind of like, what is that? Like, I don't know about that art style, that kind of like comic book single pane image, right? Graphic novel thing. I was like, never heard of the studio. And then we saw it again at E3 this past year, and then they debuted it at the Tribeca Film Festival, and I'm just like, I'm not really feeling this. I don't know. And I'm someone who really enjoys narrative games. Like, those are right up my alley, as Jez always makes fun of me. So I started playing it, and wouldn't you know it, I got really into it. Like, I got really invested. The game is separated into 2 books. So, like, 3 chapters in book 1 and 3 chapters in book 2. And, bro, like, that first 3 chapters, I was so just, like, I was just having such a good time. I'm like, this is really good. Like, the story basically is 2 families kind of on different paths. One, you have like a husband and his wife and their daughter and the guy's father kind of traveling. Something happens and they end up at a motel, but then you have these kids that are just kind of assholes, and they're kind of on the run, and they end up at the hotel, and their lives intersect. And the way the story is told is really interesting. It kept me on my toes. Like, you're always making choice. Like, you're not just watching it. Like, there's always a choice to be made, like, every 20 seconds. Whether it's, like, what to say to somebody or an action to be done, right? So it really keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I was really into it. Like, I think each chapter is like an hour. So, and then talking with people afterwards, like, none of them, like, I talked to Jez and I talked to Addict, I talked to Kid Smooth, I was watching Snowbike Mike and Greg Miller play through it on Kind of Funny, and, like, everything was different. Like, nobody did exactly what I did for my playthrough. Other people were like, did you get to the part here with this character and this character? I'm like, no, at this part, like, it was this for me. So, like, the choices, yeah, I mean, the story's going to go one way, but the choices do have an impact of, like, what's happening. So, the choices are meaningful. The story's really engaging. And the voice acting's really well done. I don't know if you know this, Jez, but the main character, Vince, or at least, the husband, he's voiced by the guy who did Adam Jensen in Deus Ex.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, I was so hyped for that. I was like, oh my god, that's Adam Jensen. And it was just, it was kind of weird seeing Adam Jensen's voice on that dude, though.
Yeah, that's
I'm used to Adam Jensen being a superhuman cyborg. But yeah, it was a cool game. And there was another major game released from Xbox. Well, not a game, but a DLC. Did you play any Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels?
Oh yeah, I played a ton of it. I'm almost finished, or at least I almost have, like, the career finished. And I love Forza Horizon. Everybody knows I'm an arcade racer guy. I'm not a sim racer dude. So I've been looking forward to Hot Wheels. since they announced it at E3. Played some of it. I don't know how many hours I got into it. I'd have to look, but like I said, I'm on the last tier of the career. But I mean, what can you really say about Playground Games that hasn't already been said before? You know, it's just like they're just the masterclass. They're just artists at work. You know, and there were some people that were a little bit down on the fact that they were doing Hot Wheels again, right? They did it in, I want to say, what year is it? 2016. They did it for DLC for Forza Horizon 3, and it was great. And then people were like, "Oh, they're doing it again," but this seems like the real Hot Wheels expansion that they probably wanted to do in 2016 but couldn't. Right? The world's much bigger. There's more tracks. They make good use of each of the biomes that the game has, right? Like where Forza Horizon 3's Hot Wheel was more static, smaller world. This one has like, you know, you have like an ice mountain or an ice area you go through. You have like a forest thing that you go through with a bunch of water. So it uses like the weather effects and the different biomes that Mexico has to its advantage. And it's Hot Wheels, man. You got fast cars doing loop-de-loops and crazy, you know, corkscrews and stuff, and it's just a great time. And it just goes to show you how like Playground, like, well, actually, what I wanted to say was, I don't even know what I want to say. See, my dog's barking constantly upstairs at somebody at the door, so it's kind of taking me out of like what I wanted to say. But
I tell you what I think of it. Like, I'm not a big racing fan, as you know, but I'm kind of like the fact that it's Hot Wheels again kind of makes me like wonder, where do they go from here? You know, because they already did Hot Wheels, and Hot Wheels is cool. You know, it's a cool concept, it's a cool partnership, but it's almost like, you know, maybe they could do Hot Wheels as its whole entire separate game. You know, at this point, you know, in partnership with a company or some, you know, make spin off the team. I don't know.
No, because I think it works well as a DLC. I like as its own separate game. Like, there's not enough content here for it to be its own separate game, right? Like, you have the world, it's beautifully crafted, it freaking looks incredible. Like, you still can't. This is like one of the best looking games on consoles, period, of the new generation. But even still, if you go through all the races and you go through, like, do the PR stunts and you clear the campaign, it doesn't take that long. There's not a lot of content there. Sure, they have the event lab stuff where people can make their own sort of tracks and events and stuff, but let's be quite honest, normally those aren't very good. You're really there for like what Forza, what Playground Games can do themselves, and it's top of the genre. But there's not that much, like I said, I think I think, I don't know, maybe I spent like 7 hours, 8 hours playing it, and I think I'm almost done. Like, all I got left to do is just see the way they have you progress in the career is by basically getting these like badges, and you get the badges by doing specific things like completing all the races or getting 1 star in all the PR events or doing this specific thing and getting to this specific part of the map in a certain amount of time, or, you know, hitting the boards, you'll get badges, and when you get enough, you go to the next level. So you start off by only being able to drive B-class cars, to then, okay, you leveled up, and now you can drive A-class cars, and now you can drive S1 cars, and now you can drive S2 cars. So they kind of gate you. So you can start with the bad cars, work your way up to the good cars, and then it's over. And then they have that kind of the end race, the gauntlet, right? And that's it, and then it's over. So there's not. So I mean, if they were gonna do a huge they would need to have so much more stuff, which they currently don't. So I think this sort of thing works well as an expansion, right? Where I don't necessarily think it would work well as a full game, because I don't really, you know what, I don't think Hot Wheels really appeals to everyone. Whereas like Forza Horizon 5, the open world, everything you do, I think appeals to a lot more people. But then you segment it off by, well, now it's Hot Wheels, and it's like some people are just like, it's not really for me. Just like how some people were like, Lego isn't really for me either. But now I'm very interested in seeing what they have in mind for the second DLC, the second expansion. Because normally
I
the
just
first,
wondering, like, I don't know, where do we go from here? What? How can it innovate? But I guess I'm not a game dev, so that's not my job to figure that out. But I just kind of think, like, when you're at the top of your game and there's like very little competition in the arcade racer space, frankly, like, how do you push that?
when you're like
Like,
number one in the racing genre, not only
yeah.
arcade but sim, and you've
How do
been
you?
number one for years, where do you go? And that was a question we had, because like Forza Horizon 4 started to feel a little bit stale in some of its mechanics, right? Because it's been the same game for a bit. And then Forza Horizon 5, still the same game, but they changed a lot of the mechanics up to make it feel more fresh. And it's like, all right, well, Forza Horizon 6, what are you going to do to, like, yeah, like you said, you're at the top of your game. Everybody says you're at the top of your game. Where do you take the franchise next? What do you do next? Can you do Hot Wheels for a third time? Is the next DLC going to be Lego Speedway? You going to do Legos again for a second time?
Fun Speculation had a good suggestion in the chat. Lego Transformers. I want to play as Optimus Prime.
Yeah, Lego Transformers. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but it's a lot more partnerships they could explore potentially. I mean, to be honest, they haven't really gone that hard on partnerships. There's like probably a lot they could do.
For a racing game, though, I think like Hot Wheels and Lego are really it. Like, what other type of partnerships could you do for a racing franchise?
Transformers. He literally just said it.
True, but then like, what do you have them transform and like, have them guns and like fight people?
I don't know. Maybe you can like transform and shoot your friends off the road or something.
Yeah. But
that'd be
interesting
cool.
because we've talked about it on the show, and there's no getting around it. That first party wise, this year isn't the best for Xbox. Probably the worst, right?
Yeah.
And then they go. Since January. And then they go and they release 2 pieces of content on the same day. Now, maybe you can make the argument that the content doesn't really overlap with the demographics, and that as Dusk Falls is a new release and it's on Game Pass, and Forza Horizon Hot Wheels is just DLC, so there isn't really any overlap. I personally, if I was in charge of releasing stuff, I'd at least give it each one of those games a week to themselves. I'd have Dusk Falls release, and then the following week Hot Wheels. Especially when you don't have a lot of content releasing this year, it just struck me as a bit odd to have them release both on the same day, right? I don't know how that is. That just the way it happened, where it's like, hey, the game's done. This is when it's coming, and doesn't matter if they both come out at the same time. I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's just Game Pass has changed the issue with that. Maybe just games have a longer tail now. Maybe it's just like, well, as Dusk Falls is going to be in Game Pass forever, presumably. So maybe it doesn't matter when it comes out. Maybe it's just a case of ship it when it's ready, and that it matters. I think it only matters to space games out if you're doing it month by month, to keep people with their subscription rolling over. Like, maybe they'd be like, oh, I'll play Forza. Well, is the DLC even in Game Pass? I don't even know. Is it in Game Pass? Rand?
Is what in Game
Pass? I don't know, Rand. Forza Horizon DLC,
no,
bro.
it's not. It's not in Game Pass.
Well, there you go.
You have to pay for it. It's like $20 separate, or you could essentially buy the ultimate upgrade for the game if you play Forza through Game Pass. I know a lot of people did that. I think it was like $40, and you can play the DLCs. I was just thinking, like,
is because that isn't in Game Pass, so they don't overlap. And maybe they're like, that's the Game Pass content for the month, and that's the retail content for the month. I don't know. But I do think Game Pass has affected the necessity to spread things out a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, are you making the argument that why Starfield and Avowed should release on the same day?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't.
I think like nah. I think when they're bigger games like that, and they do have a lot more overlap than a racing DLC and a narrative adventure game. Yeah, I think that's a little bit different. But I think they can release in the same year, in the same quarter.
See, the
Even
thing is, it's
personally.
to me, I would just because I think maybe As Dust Falls, maybe people didn't realize it was out because Forza's out, or like people want to play Forza, so they don't play As Dust Falls. Like I would at least give the game a week to itself and be like, all right, As Dust Falls had all the attention this week. It's out. Everybody knows it's out. Play it. And then the following week is like, oh, here's the Forza DLC. Because I mean, let's be honest. Like, I think more people are going to play the Forza Horizon DLC than As Dust Falls, right? Forza Horizon's a super popular game, and people really like Hot Wheels. So I think Forza Horizon Hot Wheels probably is taking some attention away from As Dust Falls. So it's like, to me, it's just like, why not just give each game a week? I mean, we talked about this a lot when Forza Horizon 5 released, and then a week later they released the Halo multiplayer for the anniversary, right? We talked about that, and we were like, that seems kind of weird to do. But then we're like, oh, well, different demographics, so maybe it doesn't really matter. And you say, well, one's free to play, one's on Game Pass, people can play it whenever. And we were like, would releasing Halo Infinite at the same time as in Forza would that hamper Forza's legs? Because Forza Horizon 5 did like 10 million in like a week, and I think it's recently hit 20 million. So
that's a lot of millions.
Maybe there's something to it. Maybe the analytics and everything say it doesn't really matter, especially for smaller stuff. But I just was like, I don't know. I give them a week to themselves at least, But either way, you can play As Dust Falls right now on Game Pass, and Forza Horizon DLC is out. I think they're both worth playing. I will say one of the negatives I do have about As Dust Falls is I'm still, even after playing through the game, not the biggest fan of the art style, and I think that will be a hang up for a lot of people. Is how it looks.
I was not a fan.
It's funny. I saw a meme going around on Twitter that called As Dust Falls the Grand Theft Auto loading page simulator, which I thought was kind of funny because it kind of does look like that,
It does kind of look like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I also
I was not a fan of that. Even even though like it had a sort of realistic-ish aesthetic, I still preferred like Life is Strange because it just felt more interactive. Even though Life is Strange is quite cartoony, I don't know. It definitely affected my enjoyment of it, the art style. But they were a small team, from what I understand, and also their first game. So I'm like, they just wanted to tell a interactive story. It's a comic book basically. So
yeah, the game sits at like a 76 on Metacritic right now. I think it's 80 on PC. Not bad. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, like I said, I was really engaged with the story. I think it's worth playing. If you're not really into narrative games, I'm not really sure this one is going to do anything for you. I will say Book 1 is better than Book 2. And without giving any spoilers, I did really like the fact that the game, because like most games that deal with story or something that happens deals with like the immediate consequences or the immediate impact of the things that happen and how it affects the characters and their relationships and stuff like that. Not a lot of games go into how it affects people later on. And there is a time jump in this. So I thought it was really intriguing and interesting to actually deal with a game that has like, oh, not only do you have all this stuff that impacts everybody right here, right now, but then you actually see the impact on a character and characters like 12 years later. I thought that was really smart to do. So me and Jez both recommend As Dust Falls. Jez played it in multiplayer, which he found to be a blast. So check it out. And Forza Horizon is great as always. So yeah. Super chat here from Georgie that says, "Talk Banjo by Sumer Digital Rumor and Platinum Games." Trust me, we'll talk about Platinum Games. Did you see anything about this Banjo Sumer Digital rumor, Jez?
I saw something about it, but I didn't put a huge amount of stock in it. I haven't heard anything on my end. I don't suppose you have. I got nothing to add to that. I don't know if it's true, and I don't even know where the rumor came from. Do you have any
I
context?
mean, I saw
or
the
anything to
rumor
add?
that I don't, like I said, I don't know. I mean, there's been rumors aplenty about, at one point in time, Banjo was being made by the people that made Ukulele, right? And then it was like Banjo was being made by Double Fine, and then Double Fine came out and said no. And now Banjo is being made by Sumo Digital, which, if you're gonna pick a studio to do it, I mean, Sumo Digital is a pretty good one. They made Sackboy recently, so I mean, like, they have the expertise. I think people just want to put in the world that a Banjo game is being made by someone, and they're trying to look at developers to figure out who's making it. But I don't know any specifics. We'll find out eventually. Because I do feel that Banjo's coming back. Nate the Hate and MVG talked about it, and they kind of mentioned that they know some of the things. So, like, both those guys know what they're talking about, and they don't make stuff up. So if they're saying, they're hearing rumors and stuff, then I think you probably can rest assured that at some point a new Banjo game will show up. The question is who's making it. James McTavish says, "Get it, Rand. Power wash with me." Power wash. It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'll download. I downloaded Stray on my PlayStation.
Stray.
Yeah, which I hope
a lot of people are talking about that.
I hope I haven't hurt the developers. I hope they're okay, because what it ended up doing was I could upgrade my PlayStation Essential, the 3 tiers. I always forget what they're called. I had PlayStation Essential, which is the base tier, right? It's like Xbox Live Gold or whatever it is. And they were like, "Oh, you can upgrade to the second tier, Extra, PlayStation Extra, I think it's called." Because I think it's Extra and then Premium. And Stray's included for free as part of it, right? And I could upgrade for like $11 for the rest of my subscription, which ends in December. So, it's a good 5 months. They just added Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade to it, and I do want to go back and finish that. So I was like, oh, I don't got to buy Intergrade. So I was like, I want to play Stray, but Stray's $30. And I can play it for $11 according to this, and then who knows what other games PlayStation will put in day one things. So I'm like, I'm gonna play this game day one. I'm gonna play this game that's a day one subscription. Download it. I hope the devs are okay. Hope they're getting paid. Hopefully they don't go out of business. Putting games in a day one subscription, as they say, you gotta support the devs, right, Jez? Isn't that the whole?
Yep.
So
yep, gotta support them devs.
I'll talk about Stray next week, because I was gonna play it after I finished Forza Horizon. So.
I do like the look of it. The open world looks really compelling, and the whole concept of like robots taking over, and then there's a cat. There's just a cat or cats left. I like the idea of that. But timed exclusive, so I'm gonna wait and play it on Xbox.
That's the thing. I don't know. Like, it's from Annapurna, which makes great games, but sometimes they don't bring over their stuff. Like the Pathless was a PlayStation launch game, and it still hasn't come to Xbox. So
I thought it was confirmed.
The Pathless, I mean, maybe it will, but I'm saying Pathless came out in November of 2020, because I played it on my PlayStation because I really like the developer and I like the look of that game. And I was like, oh, well, I can play through it again when it comes to Xbox. And what is it? July 22nd, 2022, so a year and 6 months later, and it's still not on Xbox. So, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily mean, like, that's the thing. Like,
yeah, maybe you're right.
Well, I mean, like, the Seafood devs have talked about how they want to bring their game to other consoles, and the same thing with the Kenna devs. And you would think, well, Annapurna is a multi-platform publisher, and they do sort of deals like Xbox will get Death's Door for a little bit, and then it'll go everywhere. And I think, what was that neon white game that just came to PlayStation, came to Nintendo Switch and PC, the speedrun game that everybody's been playing? I see Jeff Grubb posting his times all the time. That was Annapurna Interactive, but they only put it on Switch and PC. And then Stray is only on PlayStation. So, like, they do these sort of deals, and I think they'll probably come to other platforms eventually, but you never know. I mean, people thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to come to Xbox, and it never did. So, You never know with these things.
Yeah, that's
Achievement
true.
says, has been a member for 11 months, says, that first loop I did in Hot Wheels DLC, I giggled like a little girl. Diora 2 with the Wave Ripper skin reminds me of myself at 9 playing cars. Yeah. Phase 23 BKNY says, here to tell people what you don't have to buy. Here to tell people that you don't have to buy a video game you don't want. You also don't have to judge other people for buying a game they do want. I'm assuming this kind of goes to the whole Last of Us remake. Like,
I think he sent that during the Peppa Pig talk, I think.
yeah,
Unless
but I
I'm
mean,
mistaken.
but he did. But Face is also, I know Face. Face is a PlayStation guy,
Oh.
and I would hazard to guess this is about the Last of Us remake situation, because
What is
that
the
was a
Last of Us remake situation?
whole thing on Twitter the last couple days. I don't know if you saw that.
Not really. Can you fill me in? Is it because it's people say it's too expensive and doesn't change enough?
Yeah, I
or
mean,
something?
there's the whole $70 price point thing, right? Where people are upset that there's a contingent of people that are like, Last of Us remake looks like a cash grab, right?
Right.
The developer came out and said it's not a cash grab, it's the most intricate game I've ever worked on, etc., etc., etc. But there's a lot of people that look at that game and they're like, listen, the game's not even that old. It came out in 2013, then you remastered it for PlayStation 4. Like 2 years later, you upgraded it for the Pro, and now you're basically doing it like so in like 10 years you've put out like 3 versions of the game, and like, oh, not only is it $70, but you cut out the multiplayer because the multiplayer was a part of the original release, and there are people that are like, it doesn't matter because who plays Last of Us for multiplayer? They were building this from the ground up, etc., etc., etc. So there's a bunch of people debating whether or not it should be $70 or it should be cheaper. Like, people bring up Gears Ultimate, that Microsoft remade Gears Ultimate in 2015 was 2015, right?
Yeah, wasn't it like anniversary of the
It
game?
was the I don't know if it was the anniversary, but it came out in 2015. They remade it. And they included everything, all the multiplayer stuff, and they didn't sell it for $60, they sold it for $40. So a lot of people use that as an example of like, well, so Last of Us is actually charging you more but giving you less content, right? Because they cut out the multiplayer. So it's like it's $10 more than it was in 2013 with less features. So there's a lot of people that are like upset with that. And then Naughty Dog did their whole thing at the Jeff Keighley show where they talked about how they're using Last of Us 2 engine and it's going to have modernized gameplay and all that stuff. And some people took that to mean that it was going to have features from Last of Us 2, like going prone or the dodge button that Ellie and Abby have, right? Where Naughty Dog updated some of the gameplay stuff for it. And then Special Nick, our buddy Special Nick at Xbox Era, he leaked a lot of the stuff this past week. Probably pissed off a lot of people in the industry, especially at Sony, by doing it. But some low quality videos. Yeah, someone sent him low quality videos of the game or whatever. And
Oh dear.
yeah, so
Naughty Nick.
yeah, the videos didn't look good because, I mean, potato cam quality. But what people really were pissed about was it didn't really seem like it was that gameplay wise. It was that much different than the original. There was no going prone. There was no dodge button. You have GIFs of basically the same animations. So people are like, wait a minute. This does seem like a cash grab. And there was this huge furor about this game for like 2 days. People were like, not happy. And then there's, of course, some people, like defending it, being like, I'm going to pay $70 because I love the game and you can't tell me not to. You don't have to buy the game, but I will, right? And then
yeah, I mean, if I had a PlayStation, I'd probably still buy it myself. So I really, really like The Last of Us 1. It's a brilliant game. But if there's no dodge button, how do you dodge?
I mean,
Like, what, is it just a cover shooter now? Or just stealth game, or
well,
what?
you played Last of Us once. I mean, you know exactly how it plays.
I can't remember. Did the original not have a dodge button? I thought you said they took it out. Or
Well,
did you mean they just
Last of
took
Us
out Pro?
2 had like a dodge parry button sort of thing that Ellie could do.
Oh, okay. I
But
got
Last
you.
of Us
I got
1
you.
doesn't. So people are like trying to find lore reasons like, well, Ellie is quicker and more agile, so she could dodge. Well, Joel's a 50-year-old man, so he can't. Like they're trying to come up with
Oh,
lore
I get you.
reasons why it's not included.
To be fair, like I'm 35 and I don't really, I wouldn't go prone for anything. Like
yeah.
that's
Well,
just hard work. My knees are
then
hot,
they all escalated to yesterday, last night. Sony put out a 15-minute gameplay video for Last of Us, clearly in response to the leaks. Even though I'm sure this video was already made, because there's no way they made this video in response to the leaks. Like this video was already being made, and they were just waiting for a specific moment in time to release it. But I would imagine the leaks forced their hand. And then a lot of people are rejoicing, like, oh, Naughty Dog showed those leakers what's up. Fuck Special Nick.
Wow.
You know, Naughty Gods once again. Like, it's this weird like argument because people were like, look how amazing the game looks, and all those people talking shit about it are, you know, they're owned. But like, what I had saw was people weren't talking about the leak as like how like the game looked bad and the leaks, because everybody knew it was a potato cam, and we knew from the original trailer that Sony showed off at, you know, Jeff Keighley's store that the game was going to look pretty good. People were just disappointed about like the lack of new gameplay improvements, and there really isn't any. So it's like, yeah, they added DualSense features, so like when you pet the giraffe, you can feel it in the you know, like you can feel it in the haptic feedback, and you know, they added maybe like I think Last of Us improved AI stuff, but like none of the actual gameplay features that people wanted. So there's this huge like kind of back and forth with people gaslighting each other almost to a certain degree. Yeah, I don't know, like I sort of agree with Face, like people, you know, buy what you want. It's your money. If you want to buy Last of Us Day 1 for $70 and that's something that you want, then who's to say you're wrong? But then again, if you don't think it's worth it, then don't buy it. Like me personally, I'm not interested in playing it simply because I played it not that long ago. And I know someone's in chat probably going to bring up the fact that I'm looking forward to Dead Space remake, right? Oh, Rand, you played the Dead Space remake. Oh, Rand, you played Mass Effect Collection. You're capping. You're just an X-bot. Why are you talking shit about PlayStation? And it's like, have I talked shit about PlayStation? Have I even talked shit about this whole situation? I'm just telling you what's exactly happening. The reason I'm not interested in playing The Last of Us remake has nothing to do with the $70, because I can afford the $70. No,
you're YouTube millionaire.
well, no, it's not that. It's just that if I want to play something, I'll buy it. If it's not in game, you know, if I want to play it's in Game Pass, I'll download it. The reason I don't want to play is because I played it recently, right? I hadn't played Mass Effect in, you know, 10 years or 11, like 10 years from Mass Effect 3, and, you know, like 13 years or whatever it was for Mass Effect 2, to the point where I don't remember most of the stuff. Like, when I was replaying Mass Effect 2 and 3, a lot of it felt new because it had been so long and I'd forgotten most about it. The reason I'm excited for Dead Space remake is because I haven't played Dead Space 1 since 2008. It's been 14 years. So, like, I've forgotten how most of it...
been that long?
I mean, yeah, Dead Space was like 2008, 2009.
Oh
the thing is, I played Last of Us 1 in 2017, and I played Last of Us 2 in 2020, so I don't really feel that burning desire to replay The Last of Us Part 1, because I played it recently. And a lot of, like, what makes The Last of Us 1 great is the story. And I remember, like, the entire story from front to back, because I played it so recently. So that's why I'm personally not interested in replaying Last of Us Part 1. Is because...
Is it hitting PC?
Eventually, yes, it is coming to PC, but they just haven't.
Is it the first time it's come to PC?
Yes. Well, it's a lot of the first time for a lot of PlayStation games coming to PC, Jazz.
Yeah, I know. So that's probably like the real angle here, right? Because I'll probably
Well, the
pick
real
it.
angle is Last of Us is beloved. Last of Us One's I think sold over 20 million units. It's basically was the blueprint for PlayStation Studios and the type of games they were making, because you can look at Last of Us, and then you can look at all the games that came after it, and they pretty much all copied that formula to a certain extent, adding in the Ubisoft formula. But it's a game that, well, it's also, there's a lot of people that they think might come new to the franchise because of the TV show on HBO. And they want to have like a better version for those people to play, I guess. And it's gonna
I
sell.
think it
Like,
makes sense to me.
it
Makes
sell.
sense.
I mean, it's gonna sell because it's Last of Us. But then there's people who are like, this is. But then there's people who don't care for Last of Us, or who don't want to play it, who look at it like, man, I really wish you had taken the people who are working on Last of Us 1 and had them work on something new. Because I've already played Last of Us Part 1 twice or 5 times. So a lot of people do feel it is like just a waste of talent, remaking something that is 9 years old, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole like hubbub of everything that's been going on the past couple days.
I don't know. It's going to be a lot of cash, like you say, but I'm going to get it on PC.
Yeah.
Because, PC is the master race, baby.
Shout out to Ralph Wiggum to become the newest member of the channel. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the emotes. Nation Harris says there's Hot Wheels Unleashed. There is a Hot Wheels Unleashed game. Yes, I know. I'm just saying, I don't know if Playground would want to take that like side content and turn it into a full game.
I was just sort of
but
spitballing, man. I was just spitballing. I was just like, what? It was just more about where do you go,
Yeah. Armello says, my favorite Xbox podcast. What do you think is happening at 343? More senior staff exit? Is Joe clearing house?
Yes.
I think the situation at 343 and Halo, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think Joe has come in and has basically kind of implemented his vision of what Halo Infinite and Halo as a franchise is going to do moving forward. So I think they're like ripping things out, and people are, the project's over, so people are leaving. But yeah, I sort of feel like you'll probably start to hear more things about Halo as Joe takes over like control of the studio and removes things and adds things to Halo Infinite and kind of like cleans up the mess that the previous management had in place. But
yeah, I mean, there are people exiting 343, but Joseph Staten's also bringing on people from the old days. I noticed that Joe Staten hired an ex-Bungie dev who worked on the original Halo games recently. Did you see that? I can't remember his name.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. So there's people going out and there's new people coming in, but I'm with Rand. It's probably going to be volatile in the short term, but hopefully what they're building is a better foundation to sort of give Halo fans what they actually want, and not just sort of like this sort of weird situation we're in now. But
yeah, I don't think it's going to be a quick turnaround for Halo either. I don't think you're going to see, season 3's here and suddenly the game has a ton of content and a whole bunch of stuff. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think the Battle Royale is going to save Halo Infinite either. And who even knows when that Battle Royale comes out? It may not be to the end of next year. It may not be to 2024. I think there's been a lot of decisions made at 343 that were probably really bad. And now it's kind of the time where it's like, we need to get rid of a lot of this stuff and move forward. And I think that's what they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised at some point, Jazz, I wouldn't be surprised if they're considering cutting bait on Halo Infinite at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's kind of... there are fundamental problems with Halo Infinite at an engine level, So maybe they do need to sort of cut their losses and build a better foundation for the future. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They need to communicate what exactly the longer term plan is as soon as possible, because it's kind of mean leaving Halo players in limbo like this.
And
But Rand,
maybe in
we got
5
some
years,
breaking news.
maybe in five years there'll be a Halo Infinite 2. I mean, they wouldn't call it Halo Infinite 2, but you know what I mean.
That'd be weird.
Like a
That'd
new
be weird.
like a new
How can-
Halo game that has like a new campaign and a new multiplayer, just kind of like starting over from scratch.
if, if it's infinite, how can it have a sequel?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Call
Rand, we got breaking news.
Breaking news on the show? What? What's the breaking news?
Yeah.
Something interesting?
Vince McMahon of the WWE just announced his retirement.
Really?
Yes.
This is the day I thought he would have to die before leaving.
Now with a Wrestling 2 podcast. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, that's Twitter's blowing up right now on that news. But yeah, there's some breaking news for you. But yes, Rand, shall we get into some topics, or do we have more super chats to get through quickly?
We got a couple more I need to get through. Can't believe Vince McMahon leaving. That's crazy.
Yeah, I never would have thought that. I thought he'd die with the company.
Achievement says, I couldn't move around in Dusk Falls. Yeah, you can't move your characters, and the little kind of like where you're just standing still and you move around the cursor around the game to find something doesn't really happen that often, and the cursor does have a little bit of input lag. I noticed. I was kind of like,
Yeah. Annoying.
Yeah, and that's part of like the art style. I think achievement, where it's just kind of like, well, what are you gonna do here, really? It's so I get it. Like, yeah, because in Life is Strange and As Dusk Falls and those games, you can walk around and interact with stuff. In this game, you really can't. Meat Puppet says maybe after Hot Wheels, Horizon 5 does a NASCAR. Maybe. Do you think all the games slated to release in 2023 were actually released in 2023? Or do you think, like everything else, it'll just keep on getting pushed back? That's interesting because, I mean, we've seen games get delayed. At least with the games that are coming between now and June, at least that's the first half of the year. So even if Starfield gets delayed, it still probably come out in 2023, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So like most of those games that if they do get delayed will probably still come out that year, but like the second half of the year. The
testing effort on Starfield must be insane, because like Bethesda, I remember when Skyrim came out, or even before that, like Fallout 3. I played Oblivion for the first time after it had several patches, so I had like a fairly polished experience. But Fallout 3 and Skyrim at launch were a mess. I distinctly remember stopping my first playthrough of Skyrim because I came upon a game-breaking bug where I couldn't progress a quest, and I was so mad and salty that I just quit playing. I didn't come back to it for like a year or something. But I think Bethesda really desperately wants to get away from that reputation of having buggy games. And the problem with the Creation Engine is that it has so much complexity, and there's so many moving parts and so many variables. Like NPCs can roam around and they can get stuck, and you can move objects around and the objects can make them stuck, and there's just a huge amount of points of failure in a game like that, where every object is a real object and it isn't just an art asset stuck to a background. Like every apple is an apple. There's so many potential points of failure that they really, really want to test as much as humanly possible, so they can at least ship it in a state that sort of doesn't scream of, oh god, this is another Fallout New Vegas. Because people look back now on Fallout New Vegas with like, it's this beloved game. Fallout New Vegas is like a charmed game that everybody loves. But dude, Fallout New Vegas was the buggiest game I ever played at launch, ever. I remember entering a building and just instantly falling through the floor because someone had forgotten to add a floor to the building. You know, it was a mess, but my God, you know, it's because it was so complicated. And honestly, there are few games that really try to be that complex now. A lot of games are just overly scripted, or everything's like background art. They look pretty, but they're completely uninteractive. These kind of games very rarely exist. So I would be happy for them to take all the time they want and ship it in the state as good as it can be. But I agree with you that it'll launch in 2023, even if it's late in 2023. But yeah, I'm so hyped for that game. I'm so hyped for that game, Rand. I've been playing Astroneer. I've been playing No Man's Sky. I've been playing like a bunch of space games to sort of whet my appetite, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, like the only ones that would be, I think, in danger are the ones that would be potentially launching towards the end of 2023. So we don't know what those might be. I mean, maybe Avowed, maybe Hellblade, maybe Contraband, maybe Project Belfry. Who knows what else Microsoft has up their sleeves? Like those games, if you're targeting that end of the year, yeah, maybe those get delayed to early 2024. But most of those games, I think, will all release. Will they all release in the first half of 2023? Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if something gets delayed. But Miguel Evers, who's been a member for 2 months, says, any word on Atomic Heart? Is it in limbo like Replaced and Stalker 2? I don't think it's been delayed because they gave themselves a window. Remember when they gave the trailer and they said it was coming out in Burr, like September, October, November, December, right?
People are thinking it might be. Oh God, there's a motorbike outside. Sorry if you guys heard that. It might be scuppered because it's developed in Russia, or at least partially developed in Russia, and it might fall afoul of the sanctions due to Vladimir Putin's murderous invasion of Ukraine. So it might be that it doesn't get released on Xbox at all because of that. They might just hit Steam or something because of the sanctions. But we don't know.
That was supposed to be a day one Game Pass game.
Yeah, it was. But alas.
Anyways, Stewie Delph says, anyone notice how Vince looked like Jez's long-lost American brother?
Vince? Oh, you mean like, the guy in As Dusk Falls?
Yeah, in As Dusk Falls, yeah.
Yeah. I did think, man, they've stolen me. They've stolen my style. Man.
Supernova says, the reasons for not showing Avowed in Microsoft conference this year is because of the reboot that got to it. The Jason reply in Era. Is the game having development issues? I think we've talked about that, right, Jez?
Which game, sorry?
As Avowed. Like, he's saying the reason Avowed wasn't at the show is because of the reboot that Jason Schreier had talked about in Reset Era. And he's asking if the game's having issues.
I don't think it's having issues. It's just normal development cycle. You know, these are the things that, you know, we don't usually see, and people fill in the gaps in their knowledge either with FUD or anxiety and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything to suggest that it's struggling or in trouble. But, you know, Microsoft has moved to this model where it's all about minimum crunch. It's, you know, for the mental health of their staff. So, you know, on the one hand, you got journalists saying crunch is bad, and on the other hand, you got people saying like, oh, game's missing its milestones, you know. So ultimately, we don't know. So they haven't announced the launch date, so technically, it isn't delayed. Either way, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Whittier says, As Dusk Falls, what genres do you think would work next? Science fiction, fantasy, true crime?
Well, in what context?
I guess he's saying like
another game?
Yeah, like if they ever did something next. Like
if they
what
do
genre would be good for next?
You mean if they're gonna make another sort of PowerPoint slidey kind of game? And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I just say that because it's not for me, you know.
Even though you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I also wish it was more interactive, like, you know. But is it? Can I just take a game for what it is, you know, and just sort of like, well, it's more like an interactive comic or something like that? Is that okay? I don't know, but I would hope that they move to sort of more 3D Life is Strange. It doesn't have to be photorealistic. I just want to be able to move around and interact with things, you know,
Yeah.
discover things for myself. I don't know.
I mean, true crime could be cool because you could sort of have heists or something, which I think would be really really cool. Science fiction, I'm down for. I don't know about fantasy because one of the reasons As Dusk Falls works as well is because you're on the edge of your seat because of what's happening. I'm not really sure fantasy can offer that. Maybe it could with swords and arrows.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones is good because
had me
it lays the groundwork and it sets it up, and then the deaths happen out of nowhere. But I don't know.
And it's got lots of nudity. What?
That it does. That it does. Sith Lord says, "Thank you, Rand and Jess, for giving me something to listen to while I'm on dialysis. Have a great weekend."
Oh wow, get well soon, man.
Yeah, hope you feel better.
Yes.
Hopefully, dialysis is for liver, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Jez might be on dialysis sooner or later too, with how much he drinks. But yeah, hopefully you feel better.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully you get well soon, and thank you for listening to the show. Let's see here, we got JC Carlo Mime saying waiting on Party Animals. Yeah, that game's supposed to be coming out sometime soon. Jacqueline Branch says poll the chat, Rand. Let us call in. People want to call into the show. I don't know how that would work, but maybe in the future, because me and Jez have been talking about starting Patreon for Xbox 2, which you tweeted about, right, Jez?
Yeah, because Patreon actually reached out to me, and they were like, "You guys should make a Patreon." Of course, they'd say that, right?
Of course. You guys should make something so we can take a percentage of the money you would make.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, of course they'd say that, but it just got me to thinking, you know, because it would be cool to sort of make more money so it could like dedicate more time to doing this kind of stuff, you know, for you guys and having a direct relationship. Because like Windows Central is great and all, but you know, we don't even have a comment system there anymore because it's broken. Supposedly they're going to repair it, but we've been waiting for weeks now. Yeah, maybe it's something we'll do. It's all about bandwidth and stuff like that, I guess.
Indeed. Andrew says only took 15 NDAs to get rid of them. AEW much better. Yeah, Vince McMahon. Achievement says Forza Horizon 6, if it's set in Japan, must have an Initial D DLC. It might even beat launch sales when released. Initial D is a car culture anime, by the way. Yeah, I have no. When you said Initial D, I was like, I have no idea what that is. But anime, yeah. I mean, Japan, man, people want Assassin's Creed in Japan. They want Forza Horizon in Japan. Everybody wants to go to Japan. John G said, who's been a member for 17 months, says 1 year. Wow. This is the first time I'm able to watch, listen live, and play my Series X. Best gaming podcast ever. Well, thank you. Hope you're enjoying whatever you're playing on your Series X. So, I think I'm all caught up. Yep, all caught up. So, Jez, let's talk about some good old topics here. And if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit that like button, please. It's free and helps out a lot.
Did we just talk for 90 minutes before even
Well, I mean, we
the
also
topic?
talked about their games we're playing, so that took a little bit of time too. So
I didn't even talk about RimWorld.
Are you even allowed to talk about RimWorld?
Well, I did the preview, didn't I?
Well, I mean, you probably
preview.
talk about RimWorld next week when I think it's out on Xbox, right?
Yeah, it comes out on Xbox next week. Sometime next week. Yeah. Or is it the week after? I don't know. It's soon. But I've been playing it on PC, and PC isn't under embargo. RimWorld's amazing. I think it's the best game ever made. Do you know why, Rand?
Why?
Because I could kill people and wear their skin as a coat.
Oh, Jesus. Of course, that'd be something you would like, but I guess we'll talk about about
that next week.
Let's talk about Scalebound.
No, no.
let's start talking about this because I was tagged in I don't know how many tweets about this. So I figured we start off talking. Before someone sends a
Oh.
super chat about Scalebound, I figured let's just head him off at the head him off at the curve, right? We'll just beat him to it.
No.
There was like
We were doing so well.
I saw this thing by Idle Sloth. But who knows if it's right because it's sloth, right? But supposedly Platinum's working with a major publisher for their next game, and could be Xbox. I don't know. What's up with this whole Platinum thing, Jez? Is it possible? Is it possible Xbox could be working again with Platinum?
Can you imagine
Look
if
at
Scalebound got
Pong Soul
revived?
in chat. He's been waiting for us to talk about Scalebound the whole show. So.
Oh god, man! I think. What if it could come back, man? What if they do it?
No.
What if they bring back Scalebound?
No, it's dead. It's dead. It ain't.
No.
Even if they were working together, even if they were,
Rand.
which there is a possibility. Like I wouldn't discount it. Platinum probably needs a partner. Babylon's Fall was a complete disaster, and Platinum does make great games, or has made great games in the past, with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance and Bayonetta and Nier Automata. Right, like they can make masterpieces. But they also make doo-doo. You know?
Doo-doo.
Yeah, and I know, like, I remember somebody, I would be like, oh, they made Legend of Korra and Turtles and Transformers Devastation and all these bad, licensed games.
Like that.
And then some people, some guy DM'd me, he's like, could you please stop talking badly about Legend of Korra? There are a bunch of us who like it. And I'm like, all right, I won't mention Legend of Korra. So, but there's like...
Platinum's releasing a game on Xbox this year. No More Heroes.
I don't think that's Platinum, bro.
Isn't
that's
it?
Suda 51, I believe.
Oh, well, I'm getting mixed up with something else.
You're getting, and you just wrote an article about Japan, and you just, man, did you really research for it? Mm-hmm.
I thought No More Heroes was. Oh, I'm getting it mixed up with that. What's that game called now? Is it Mad World? Mad World Platinum games. Oh yeah, I'm getting it mixed up with Mad World. Never mind. I don't know how I managed that though. Why? Mad World actually did come out on the 360. Did they put that on back compat?
I don't know.
I've gone off on a tangent now.
Yeah,
so but Platinum made Mad World. Mad World was great.
Platinum on Xbox, Jazz. Are they working with them? Yeah. Xbox. Remember, Platinum was like, "We want to be bought." They were like begging Xbox or anybody to buy them. Like, what do you make of this stuff? Is it true? Is it possible? Like, what's going on?
Rand, starting to believe, man.
You're believing
starting to believe.
You're believing it?
Scalebound
No.
is coming back.
Scalebound will...
Baby!
No, 100%. No. Even if they're working together, it won't be on Scalebound. That game is dead and buried.
Rand.
The bones are decaying in the earth, turning into fossil fuel
Rand.
as we speak.
Rand, you just have to believe, man.
I'm not believing.
You just have to have some faith. You have to have some faith, man, in... manifestation. If everyone who's watching this show believes that Scalebound will come back, we can manifest it together to come back. Do you want it to come back, Rand?
No.
Do you lament the fact that you couldn't ride any dragons? No?
Actually, no. I'd lament the fact that you didn't believe me when I told you it was canceled.
Oh, that old chestnut. That old
when
chestnut.
Jez didn't believe me. Tim Dog didn't believe me either, Jez, so it's okay.
Well, I thought they for sure wouldn't cancel that after they'd announced it and they'd done all the marketing and all that stuff. Oh, and people in chat are telling me it's not Mad World that came out on the Xbox. It was Anarchy Reigns, which is a spiritual successor. Yeah, okay, I got confused. But them's the ropes. But what I'm not confused about, Rand, is that Scalebound should come back, baby. It should come back. I believe, Rand. Nah, I don't know, man. Like, the rumor is that Platinum wants to work with Microsoft, and then Platinum announced that they made a big hire for their CEO.
He's like an ex-Nintendo person, I believe.
Ex-Nintendo vice president, I want to say. I think it's the ex-Nintendo vice president. I don't have any notes here because when I podcast with Miles on Windows Central Gaming for chat days, Miles has like all the notes written out about everything we're going to talk about, and I just don't, because I'm not a professional. I'm unprofessional, Rand. I'm
Mm.
unprofessional. Do you have notes? Do you have all your notes out, Rand?
For the show, I mean,
Show it.
I have like a listing of things we're going to talk about.
Ah,
You know,
Miles writes out all these notes.
well,
The talking
Miles,
points.
yeah, writes like a script. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't script
Yeah.
anything out. My videos.
Yeah,
I
it's
made
not,
I
it's
made
not
a
script,
video. I
like,
made a
it's
video
all the
this week
information
too.
you need.
You know,
You made a video. Good job.
You were basically beating me up to make one.
Yeah, I was, and I'm gonna beat you up next week as well because you're
Yeah.
gonna have to make at least one video a week. to
One
get back
video a
into it.
week.
Yeah. Yeah, one video a week, even if it's about nothing. You're gonna have to do it, and everyone in chat agrees with me. I know they do. And everyone listening on Spotify, they also agree with me. I know they do. An achievement dropping those eggplant emojis with the Scalebound exclamation marks. Yeah, see, we got some Scalebound stands in the chat. But could Platinum work with Xbox? I think Platinum at the time just bit off more than they could chew. They wanted to. Scalebound was pretty ambitious for Platinum Games. They were trying to make like a multiplayer, open world game which had a dragon riding system that could support 4 players simultaneously. That's quite ambitious for Platinum Games, who they typically make like sort of more linear games generally. They're more linear games that are sort of very focused and sort of take you from, point A to point B to point C, And at the time, they were also working on Nier Automata, which, was also quite an ambitious game in its own way, And I think they just bit off more than they could chew. And I think increasingly it was like, where do we prioritize our resources? Where do we, which game has like the greater chance of success right now? And it's probably just like they ended up allocating more attention to Nier Automata, and maybe that created bad blood with Microsoft and stuff like that. But I don't think it was anyone's fault in particular. It was just bad timing. So I think Microsoft and Platinum could and hopefully should work together again, because Platinum can make some serious bangers, and they have been struggling and striving to remain independent as much as possible. They took some investment from Tencent, I believe, which reduced, I suppose, their ownership of their company, but they are scrapping to stay independent. And I think these sorts of big partnerships with platform holders is one way that you remain independent nowadays. Like we see Epic Games throwing a lot of money around, for example. Well, Epic Games, Tencent, pretty much half owned by Tencent, right? So it's basically Tencent throwing money around. Microsoft's throwing money around, and the need to have content is more important than ever. So I'm down for it. I would love to see Platinum Games make a game that is definitively platinum. I don't think they need to go balls to the wall, make something crazy like an open world multiplayer game. Like, just make a platinum game. Give me an alternative to Bayonetta. Give me some crazy ninja game or something with cutting people up with a sword or something. Give me get Konami on the phone and make Metal Gear Rising 2, and make it Xbox exclusive, timed exclusive for a year. Do that. I'm down for that. But
I actually 100% agree with you. Because some people think I hate Platinum, which is odd because I've said like Bayonetta and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance are masterpieces of their genre, and I really like Nier Automata. Like, they have made excellent games. It's just that the whole Scalebound thing, with people holding on to that dead horse that people constantly beat. So like, if they were making something new, and like we said, Xbox needs games. We've talked about how many times in the show. They buy more studios, make more games, so you don't have to ever be in the situation where it's like you don't have anything like 2022, right? You need more games. That's the whole point of this. So like, if they're willing to make something, work together again. You're trying to make inroads in Japan with Hideo Kojima, right? That stuff. Like, why not work with Platinum again? I'm all for it as well. They make great content as long as you can make sure that Kami is the one making it, and that they got their A-team on it, and you don't end up with like them making something like Babylon's Fall for you, because then it's just going to be like, oh, Xbox doesn't know what they're doing, again. So I'm all for it, but I would bet bottom dollar that it would not be the return of Scalebound. And Supernova says in the super chat, the
Yeah,
return
I
of
don't think so.
Scalebound has a greater impact than the acquisition of Activision. Let's duckin' go, is what he says.
Activision.
Yeah,
I've never heard that before. I like that.
Oh well,
That makes
I screwed up saying he says Activision, but yeah, that's how we should say from now on. Activision.
Yeah, Activision. That's how people should say it.
Yeah.
You said that by
I
accident.
said that on accident. Yeah.
Activision.
Yeah.
That's great.
Isn't it
It
great?
works. It's perfect.
Mistake. Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Nobody's ever said that
I'm
before. Wow.
Nobody. I've never seen that before. Activision.
You should write that in your next article. Activision.
Activision. That's my new favorite word. That's the word. That's the hashtag of the week. Activision. Hashtag Activision.
Chiefman says with the little eggplant emojis, Scalebound, and our buddy Sin Vendetta's back with the super chat. Jez, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well, Sin. He says, "Hey, Rand and Jez, hope your boys are doing
Sin.
well. With what gaming time I have, I've been going back and forth between Sonic Origins, Stray, Salt and Sacrifice, and Elden Ring. Have a great weekend, guys." I figured Elden Ring would be in there. I don't know if you saw this, Jed, but Elden Ring, the NPD has said, has moved into the top 10 best-selling games of all time in the U.S.
Did you see
that?
retracted that
They
statement.
retracted it?
They retracted it. They were mistaken.
What?
Or
No.
Yes, they retracted it. Or they said something like it was incomplete data or something. I don't know if they updated it again, but I'm pretty sure they retracted that statement, which was pretty awkward considering literally everybody
Wrote an
except me
article.
covered it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think it'll get there though. I think Elden Ring's gonna have a long tail, like Skyrim.
Yes.
Like the modding community will keep it going. There's gonna be DLC for that game.
And then it's going to win Game of the Year, right?
It's gonna win Game of the Year, and they'll probably do sequels, and maybe in 10 years I'll have finally completed it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny, you beat Peppa Pig, but you don't beat Elden Ring.
I actually didn't beat Peppa Pig either. Too hard, man. It's too hard. Peppa Pig's too hard, man. Peppa Pig is the Dark Souls of pork games. Not many games with pork in it.
Radimus Cisco's been a member for 13 months, says, maybe Team B was making Scalebound. They should give it to Team A. Well, actually, Kamiya was directing that game, so that would have been the Team A. That would definitely have been their best team. But I think it was like the engine they were using, because remember, I think Jez, you said you heard they were forced to kind of use Unreal, which they had no
I don't think they were
experience
forced
with or whatever.
I think it was more like their goals for the game meant they had no choice but to use Unreal, but they weren't very experienced with Unreal, which created cascading problems. Basically, the game was too ambitious. It was too ambitious.
Yes.
I think that's ultimately the story here. But yeah. Bring it back, screw it.
Georgie says, don't you guys want to see a good redemption story? Scalebound should return. Scalebound should remain in the grave.
I think they should bring it back, but make it a more linear game. And get rid of that protagonist, because he was cringe as hell. Dude, I hate that protagonist so much. Maybe it won't be so bad in Japanese, but like the American direction for that protagonist was not a fan.
Also, Shady brought it up. So Shady in chat, but I totally forgot about it, and I love this game as well. Vanquish is amazing too, and I completely forgot about that game.
That's on back compat, I think.
Yeah. Well, then they remastered it and put it with Bayonetta, but yeah. So there's that. Xbox had a very interesting update this week. Came out of nowhere. I called it game changing in my title, which I saw Jeff Grubb title it in his Giant Bomb video. So I'm like, I'm gonna steal that, Jeff. Xbox just added a game changing update. Discord voice chat. Discord is now on Xbox. You made a video too. We're both making videos. You know, I want to make more videos. I kind of do miss making videos, and I know people kind of like want me to make more videos. It just, I just kind of, I don't know, just wasn't really in the headspace. I don't know. I just kind of just didn't want to. But I saw this, and I'm like, I'll make a video about it. So how do you... Did this pop up out of nowhere for you, Jez? Because it certainly did me. Like, there was no talk about this at all. It was just like, hey, here it is. Xbox and Discord.
I had no inkling this was on the way. This completely blindsided me. But apparently, it's been in the works for a really long time. I saw an ex-Microsoft staffer tweet out that they were exploring doing this 5 years ago. And given the implementation, it does seem like this was a complicated endeavor to get working. So, like, for those who don't know, Discord is a chat platform. We actually have a Discord for the podcast. Is it in the description, Rand? Do you put that in the description? I'll put it in the chat.
In the
anyway.
what?
For our Discord, the Xbox 2 Discord. But yeah, Discord's a chat app, and you can join servers about anything you can possibly imagine. And the reason people want it on Xbox for the longest time, people have been asking for this for years, is because it's just become the sort of best platform to use for voice comms. Like, I use it for World of Warcraft raiding. I use it just to chat with people randomly. I use it for everything. It's basically supplanted Skype and TeamSpeak, and also, a bunch of other programs, because it's just fun to use. You can make huge communities with it. And people always wanted, like, the ability to join a Discord voice chat on Xbox, because in the world where games are becoming increasingly cross-platform, it's kind of annoying when you can't chat with a friend who's playing on PlayStation or is playing on PC easily. Like, Xbox can voice chat with people on PC using the Xbox Game Bar, but it's really slow. Nobody wants to use that. So they've gone for a Discord partnership. And it's funny, Rand, because it was originally Sony who announced they were partnering with Discord, but it seems that Xbox has beat them to the punch here. But I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation ends up getting this stuff as well, since, like, if they've done the work to make the APIs, then yeah, I'm sure that'll eventually make its way to PlayStation. But what is confusing about this, Rand, and what is a little bit controversial, is how complicated it is.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's a little bit convoluted. It's
convoluted.
It's not an elegant solution. It's not like a native app where you can just start up Discord and talk. There are some steps you have to take. First step, you have to you open up the guide and you go, and there's like a QR code that you have to you have to use your camera on your phone, right? So there's this big QR code when you open up Party Chat, that tab, and it's like, hey, try Discord voice on Xbox, and you click on it when you try it, and it brings up this thing where it's like, scan this QR code. I'm like, already for a bunch of people, this is probably too much. So you scan it with your phone, you open up the Discord mobile app on your phone, and then it wants you to link your accounts. Even if you've linked your accounts before, because you can link them on Xbox, you have to do it again. So you have to link your Xbox account to your Discord, and then when that's done, you can essentially join any voice channel in any of the Discord servers you're in, or join a call. And then when that happens, there's a little button press icon that says send to Xbox. So when you press the button to send it to Xbox, it opens up the Xbox app on your mobile device, which then sends the Discord voice chat to your console. And then you can basically close the programs on your phone, and you're in Discord voice chat on your console. So it is a little bit complicated to do. Yes.
Yes, it is. But I think the reason they've gone for this implementation is limitations, basically. Like, one of the things I often hear is, like, why isn't there a native Discord app on Xbox? And it's because the system resources for the operating system on Xbox, they're very, very light. They're very thin. Like, Microsoft Edge on Xbox does not run very well. And if you open a web page that's particularly heavy, it will make the app crash because it will exceed the amount of RAM it's got available. And Discord is a beefy program. Like, if I open my task manager right now, because we use Discord to record the podcast, me and Rand, it's currently using CPU usage isn't too bad, but it's currently using like 400 megabytes of RAM, which is quite a lot. It's funnily enough, WhatsApp is using more RAM right now than Discord, so that's hilarious. But yeah, it's a pretty heavy duty app, or at least it can be. And to that end, I think like having the full blown Discord app on Xbox probably isn't viable for a number of reasons. But also, I think it's like this is the first sort of step for the API. I'm sure like there is a chance possibly that Discord and Microsoft might work together to expose the data from specific servers, maybe even your Discord friends list, linking them together so that you can more seamlessly jump between the different platforms for voice. Maybe that's something they'll explore down the line. But I think like with the current limitations and Microsoft and Discord separate requirements when it comes to security and community management, I think this was probably the best solution they could come up with for the time being. And I think like down the line, I do think we'll see more integration, deeper integration. I won't be surprised if one day I'll be able to reply directly to a Discord text chat on my Xbox. I would not be surprised. But I think at least in the short term, this is like the best solution they could come up with. And it does work. Like once you've gone through, jumped through the hoops and jumped through the steps to do it, it takes like a minute or something. But if you're gonna have like a 2 or 3 hour gaming session, like what's a minute, right? To make sure that everyone's on the same platform. So while it's not the most elegant solution, it does work. And it does seem like it's been quite complicated to make it work, which is why they've gone for this system in the first place. But it does seem like a lot of work gone into it because Discord had to change their UI. Microsoft had to change their UI. And they've also had to make new APIs on both ends for this. Like there's a new API thingy authentication handoff on Discord and one on the Xbox app. So a lot of work has clearly gone into this. And clearly they wouldn't have put this much work into it if there was an easier way. It seems like this is like what they've had to do for now. So I think like, you know, Pushing Polygons just said in chat, like basically what I was going to say. Like I'd expect that available RAM in next-gen consoles will go up considerably. One of the problems with the current gen Xbox consoles has become the operating system. I think things like the game DVR being bad, part of that is because the system allocation for the operating system is so thin. There's not a lot Microsoft can do with it. You know, they're still basically working with the same operating system that launched with the Xbox One back in 2013. You know, they've adapted it a lot, obviously, and changed the way it looks and made it more usable. But the allocation for what they can do with it from a app perspective hasn't really expanded too much, you know? And I think like when we go to the next generation, the Xbox Series X2 or whatever, we might finally see maybe a new operating system for the console, but I don't know. I suppose we'll have to wait and see about that, but those are limitations. But hey, at least it works.
This is interesting because you got this, you know, crossplay is going to be more of a thing. So this is a step in the right direction, getting Discord in there because more and more people are going to be playing on Xbox and PC, you know, mobile, and it's Switch and PlayStation, right? But also, like, I don't think it'll ever be a native app, Jez. I think this is going to be the solution. Whether it's because Discord doesn't want to make a native app or Xbox doesn't want to make the app for them, but also I don't think they want to make a native app and make it that seamless of experience because then you're essentially admitting that Discord is better than Xbox Live.
They've already admitted it.
Sure,
Dude,
maybe.
Like, Xbox clubs are deader than dead.
Sure, but the point is, like, at that point, are you just offloading Discord voice to be your party chat system? Because then, like, what's use of party chat if you can just use Discord, right? I think there's that sort of maybe would feeling at Microsoft for the people that built it is like, well, are we just ceding this to Discord instead of fighting for it? So I doubt there's ever going to be a native implementation where Discord voice chat is just like party chat on Xbox, where it just is. I think
What if
this is the solution that they worked on, where it's like you can use it if you want, but it isn't. But there's enough steps in it where a lot of people are going to be like, screw it. You know what I mean?
I don't think their plan was to make it convoluted on purpose.
I'm not saying they're making it on purpose. I'm just saying, like, I don't think they would ever make a native app for reasons. And this was just, like, the best solution they could come up with it not being a native app. Right?
I don't know, but dude, maybe they'll just buy Discord.
Yeah. Discord used Xbox and Microsoft to pump up their price, pump up their value. That's all they did.
Rip.
So, yeah, I haven't been able to actually try it to hear the voice quality or the latency in it, so I don't know if it's actually any better than Xbox Live Party Chat or anything. And I honestly don't really see myself using it very much. Nobody I know I hang around with really uses Discord channels or voice chat very much, and when I'm on my console, I use Party Chat. But I mean, I guess if there ever was a scenario where someone's like, "Hey, we're in Discord," I can essentially do that now instead of being like, "I can't join because it's on my," I'm not able to. So it's a good step in the right direction. And people thought this would never happen because PlayStation invested in Discord, remember? Last year, and said that they were partnering with Discord in some fashion. And then they had, like, linking your accounts, which Xbox already had, like, years ago. You can kind of see what you're playing on Xbox and stuff. So that's the Discord update. Right now, it's only available for Xbox Insiders on the alpha and skip ahead ring. And then eventually it'll be available to everybody, probably in a couple months. And it'll be interesting to see how many people actually use Discord voice chat on Xbox. I would love to see the numbers because we know how Xbox is very much data driven. If a lot of people don't use something, they kind of get rid of it. Like sharing to Twitter until people bitch about it, right? Game DVR stuff, where it's like, not a lot of people are using this. Let's get rid of it. Oh no, there's a backlash. Maybe not. Remember when
part of me wonders, right? Maybe they wanted to strip that out of the system to claw back some system resources so they could do something else with it. And what if, by bitching about that, we ended up stopping Xbox dashboard getting a cool new feature? And it's a be careful what you wish for situation. What if?
No, I don't believe.
You don't believe?
I don't believe.
Do you believe in Scalebound?
No, I don't believe in Scalebound. JScan says Skull and Bones cost €69.99 on the Series X. Why Ubisoft? Because Ubisoft wants to make money. And I mean, I don't know why that game's $70. Is that game $70 on? Is Ubisoft pricing that $70 game, Jez? Skull and Bones?
Which game? Skull and Bones. Let me have a look. Skull and Bones. I'm actually quite excited for this game.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm the only person in the world who is.
You might be. And you don't even care Sea of Thieves. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's Sea of Thieves without PvP. And that's why I'm interested in it. Because I hate Sea of Thieves PvP. And this game is not going to force me to PvP. Oh, yes, it is $70. Pre-order now for 70 smackaroonies. And when is it coming out?
Is that in the US or is that in the UK?
That is in the United States of America. And there's also a $100 bundle.
Yeah, it's also coming out the day before God of War, so good luck with that.
I will buy it instead of God of War.
Ubisoft also has some other things that they announced. One being that they delayed Avatar to next year, so it's not launching with the movie anymore. They also delayed a smaller game to next year, which Jason Schreier reported was a new Assassin's Creed game called Assassin's Creed Rift. So that got delayed. And they also canceled Ghost Recon Frontlines, as well as Splinter Cell VR. Yes!
Wait, aren't you sad about that?
No, hell no. Hell no. Cancel Splinter. We want a Splinter Cell game, not Splinter Cell VR. Happy it's canceled. Great. Now we can get all resources on Splinter Cell Remake. Nobody wanted a Splinter Cell VR game. Come on, Jez. That was just
I wanted it.
No, you didn't.
Dude,
You weren't gonna play it.
Dude, what are you talking about? I love VR, man. I love
you
it.
Don't.
I've actually been playing VR a bit lately.
The
I've
only
been
reason you would
working
play
out
that
on
game
Beat
would be
Saber.
only reason you would play that game is to spite me. That's it.
Is that not reason enough?
Yeah, but even then, you probably wouldn't. So
Yeah, you're probably right. I actually did hook up my Oculus Quest 2. Well, it's not mine. It's the family Oculus Quest 2. I hooked it up to my PC because I was like, man, I want to check out some VR games. Because I did buy some really cheap ones on Steam, and I do have Beat Saber. And dude, an hour on Beat Saber burns like 300 calories for me. And that's like 300 calories is what? Like, I don't know, 3 chocolate bars or something? Or 3 British chocolate bars. It's probably a quarter of an American chocolate bar, but it's a good workout, man. Do you not want to burn calories while playing Splinter Cell VR? Stealthing around your room, crawling on the floor.
I want a Splinter Cell game, not VR. Sorry, Jez.
Well, you're never getting one, man. You're never getting one.
We are.
Ever.
We are totally getting one.
No, you're not. You know it's more likely to come back launch than Splinter Cell, classic Splinter Cell?
What?
Scalebound. Scalebound, bro.
Stop talking about Scalebound. Nicodemus says, how much time do you spend with each system? Literally 99.99% of my time is spent on Xbox.
99.99? Where's the other little tiny percent?
I mean, the little other tiny percent is when I turn on my PlayStation to play something. So, but the what I'm trying to say is the vast majority of all my time is spent on Xbox. I will be on PlayStation playing Stray. I was on PlayStation early this year playing Sifu. I'll be on PlayStation later this year to play God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, that's it.
Right now, I'm about 40% PC, 50% Xbox, and about 10% cloud. Right now. Does that add up to 100? I'm not.
Seems like you're more like 90% cloud.
It probably is. It probably is more than 10%. It's probably more like 20%. But I'm playing a lot of PC at the moment because I'm addicted to RimWorld, which is the greatest game ever made because you can wear someone's skin as a coat.
Interesting. Everborn, what's up, buddy? He says, "What if the disc? Oh, Jesus Christ! Is this a new conspiracy theory? You know, I haven't talked to you, and I haven't really seen any. Are you about to bring me a conspiracy theory?
What conspiracy theory?
He says, "What if the Discord integration is the beginning of them getting rid of Xbox Live Gold?" I don't see how one has anything to do with the other.
Nah. I don't think so.
Because they made Party Chat free when they made free to play games playable without gold. So
they'd never get rid of Xbox Party Chat because you need to have a voice chat system that you own. What if Discord just decided to pull out of Xbox one day? Or what if like Discord went out of business or something, you know? So nah, they'll always have their own voice chat stuff.
You need to stop coming up with these conspiracy theories, Everborn. Like every time there's something that happens, he's like coming up with 1,000,002 conspiracy theories about like something when it's just straightforward, you know?
I do like conspiracy theories though.
I mean, yeah, sometimes they're fun to like read, and then we can all laugh at them and stuff. So yeah,
I'm gonna think of a conspiracy theory, a new one.
Well, so I remember when he called me up one day and he's like, "Listen, this is after Starfield and Redfall got delayed." And his conspiracy theory was that they delayed Starfield and Redfall intentionally so they could go to the FTC and tell them, "We don't got no games, so you can't call us a monopoly. So you have to pass the Activision Blizzard, you know, deal.
Activision.
Activision, yes. That was his conspiracy theory. They delayed it intentionally so they can be like, we got no games. We're not a monopoly. And then FTC would be like, you know what? You're right. We just have to pass this now.
Maybe he's right. Maybe Xbox is holding back, Rand. Maybe
they're
this
holding
whole
back
year,
intentionally.
Maybe Starfield is actually completely ready, but they're just holding back because they want to get the deal through. And then maybe when the deal goes through next month, that's the next conspiracy theory, that the deal's going through next month, Starfield will launch that day. Not just Starfield, Rand, but Avowed. Avowed and Starfield.
Not just Avowed, but Fable.
Yeah, Fable.
And not just Fable, Elder
day.
Scrolls 6. And not just Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5.
Yeah, they'll launch that day. And you know what else will launch?
What?
World of Warcraft 2. Xbox and PC exclusive. That day.
Incredible. No? I believe that. I believe it.
The next day, Microsoft announces it's acquiring Nintendo.
Oh my lord. Could you imagine the internet on that day?
It'd be fun. And then the next day after that, they announce the reboot of Scalebound.
Then after that, they announced that they have acquired Tencent.
Yeah. And then after that, Phil Spencer announces he's running for president.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
What a crazy conspiracy that Everborn Saga's given us. We've gone down the rabbit hole on this one. We've pieced it all together.
Oh, man.
Shout out to my guy, Gaming Forte is here. And he says, first, congratulations on the milestone of making a video this month. You're so funny, Forte. You're so funny.
I made as many videos as you this month.
I know. Second, hope you and Jez have a wonderful weekend. Bonus tip, Ubisoft sucks.
He's right.
You know, Ubisoft has kind of been on the downward trend as of late, so...
Jeff Grubb, today, speaking of Ubisoft, said that they're working on a battle royale set in the Division universe, which isn't that other game set in the Division universe. I forgot what its name is. I can't keep up with Ubisoft's battle royale takes. But yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the thing. You're looking forward to Division Battle Royale and Division Immortal on mobile phones. What the hell is Ubisoft doing, man? I feel like they're all over the place.
I mean,
I swear, I'm hyped for Skull and Bones, though. I want to be a pirate.
I don't know how you could be... You hate Ubisoft, though.
I know I hate Ubisoft, but I want to be a pirate.
Well, you can. It looks fun. You could be a pirate. Why do you think Rare doesn't want to do the whole PvP, PvE server stuff that people have been begging them for?
I mean, I spoke to Joe Nee about this years ago, and he just said that's our vision for the game, and I think that's fine. I think it's fine. You know, their creative vision is that the game, they want their game to be as social as possible. And I think, like, if you create an artificial barrier where you can't interact as pirates might interact, you kind of... the game loses something. However, it makes it not for me, because I've done that whole PvPvE thing in World of Warcraft for years and years and years, and I just don't have the patience anymore. I remember World of Warcraft being killed by like high level players running around Stranglethorn Vale. And then I came back when I was level 60, and then I did it to Alliance players for hours. I had a rogue logged out in Stranglethorn Vale just to kill Alliance players. Just to kill low-level Alliance players and ruin their day. Yeah, I said it. You know, I was the worst kind of undead rogue. But I've done my time in that kind of experience. And I've even done it in Sea of Thieves. I remember, like, when me and Roby used to play Sea of Thieves on Mixer with the co-streaming stuff. I really miss co-streaming. Co-streaming was so fun. We were really horrible, and we ganked loads of people. And I kind of feel like I have to quit Sea of Thieves while I'm ahead. We had, like, a really fun spree where we ran around killing people, stealing their loot, and then cashing it in. And it was really fun. And I kind of feel like I have to quit while I'm ahead now, because otherwise I'm gonna get my comeuppance. I'm gonna get hit with a karma bat. All the karma from my World of Warcraft ganking and Sea of Thieves ganking gonna come back around. So now I can only play PvE games forever because of karma, man. It's all karma. Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. Smash the like button, indeed, please. Get us up to a whole bunch of likes. Jez, what do you feel about Skate 4 going free to play? Because you kind of said on Twitter that free to play makes you think a game's going to be poop.
Yeah, free to play automatically makes me think games are going to be bad, because, you know, a lot of free to play games are bad. I'm not a big fan of these free to play games.
Were you interested in Skate at all, anyways? Because I mean,
No.
I'll just say what I'm going to say. I've never played a Skate game. I'm not interested in a Skate game. I wasn't interested in playing new Skate at $70. I'm not interested in playing Skate for free. I wasn't going to play Skate. I'm never going to play Skate. But I also sort of feel that this game wouldn't be existing if it was a $70 premium title. Like, I feel like the only reason this game's even coming back is because it's free to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think games like this, they can't work if they're not free to play in this day and age. Like, the moment you slap a cost on things, people just tune out. Like I said, I was at my cousin's the other day because I wanted to take advantage of their much cooler house and during the heat wave. And I was like, let's play Minecraft. And you know, because I could play on my phone and they could play on their laptop, and, you know, cross-play and all that. And she was shocked that it actually cost money. She was like, wait, this is 25 quid? I was like, yeah. She's like, it's not free? You know, because the expectation is games are free now, you know, amongst the youth. So, you know, Genshin Impact, free. Fall Guys is free. Wasn't Minecraft free? You know. So I think games that want to go broad and have that sort of broad appeal, they just seem like they have to be free now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't going to play it. I'm not a huge Skater guy. I played Tony Hawk's because I got nostalgia for it, but I have no nostalgia for Skate. So, and I ain't a skater. I'm not a skater boy in real life. Do you like that song, Rand? Skater Boy?
I know Skater Boy, Avril Lavigne. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say they're big Skate fans that are not like, man, I don't want this, because there is that stigma around free to play stuff where it's like they just have this fear that they're gonna block content, or you're gonna have to pay for levels, and all the customization is gonna be you're gonna have to essentially pay for. So I feel you guys, my Skate bros out there. I feel you. Yeah, I'm sorry if this isn't what you wanted. Hopefully,
you know,
the thing is,
it'll still be good.
The free to play games I played, I've all had fun with. Like, I played Warzone for 200 some odd hours. I loved every second of it, and I didn't spend any money. You know, I recently played Fall Guy. I think Fall Guys for like 10, 12 hours. That was great times playing with my friends. I don't think I'd play that game for much longer than that. But I thought for what there was there, I'm like, that's great. I didn't have to spend any money on it. You know, I played Apex Legends for 100 hours. Loved it. You know, at some point, I was just like, well, I'm done with the game. But once again, I didn't have to spend anything on it. Halo Infinite, we'll see when the Battle Royale comes out or whatever. But for the free-to-play games that I've played, I've enjoyed, and they've been high quality in my experience. And I haven't played all of them, so I can't speak on that. But I guess maybe it's different for me because I'm someone that doesn't feel the need to like dress up my character to make him look super cool. So like buying a red skin for my gun, or wanting to be Snoop Dogg or getting a skin from Attack on Titan and Call of Duty or any of this other stuff or any of these other things, like, or getting a Halo skin in Fall Guys, like that stuff doesn't interest me. So like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are probably bad free to play games. And even Smite, like I think I played Smite for over 100 hours back when it first came to Xbox, and I really enjoyed that. So, I mean, most of my experiences with free to play on console have been pretty positive. I haven't played any on mobile, and that's where I think a lot of people's negativity comes from, because like mobile has that whole different thing where they like gate lock levels. You can only play 5 levels. Make sure to buy more stars or something, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, Everborn has returned with the $5 super chat. Says all those theories and no Sega acquisition. Same on you both. Sega's got nothing. Everborn. Like, why would anybody want Sega in 2022?
Wow.
I keep on saying that to him because he's a huge Sega guy, and it drives him insane when I say Sega's not worth acquiring.
Sega's so totally worth acquiring. But Rand, you know why Sega's worth acquiring?
Why?
Because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the best video game movie I've ever seen.
It's pretty. I mean, it's a decent movie, that's for sure. And
I loved it. I watched it the other day. And I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
To throw Everborn a bone, I do think Sega's probably worth acquiring, especially for the Japanese stuff if you were to get them, and for the PC stuff. Maybe not so. I mean, what do they have on console wise? They got Sonic Frontiers coming out this year. Poop.
The first images of the next Yakuza dropped.
Yeah, it did, and that would be for the Japanese stuff. So maybe after Activision is done, maybe they take a long hard look at Sega. And Dean Gamer says it's 5:13 a.m. in WA. I don't know what it is at Washington. I was hoping I could download this before work, but you're still going. So hope you both have an awesome weekend. And just wondering, are either of you keen for Hogwarts Legacy? Cheers. Man, we never have the podcast up at this point in time because we're still podcasting. We don't normally put the podcast up till the next day. Yeah, what is 5:13 a.m. in WA? So it's 4:22 p.m. here Central. So you're a full 13 hours ahead of me. Where would that be, Jez? 13 hours ahead? What is that, Australia? Is WA? Is
WA? I don't know.
Anyways, are either of you keen for Hogwarts Legacy? There's a part of me that actually is, because I've read the Harry Potter books and seen the movie.
Nerd!
Shut up, Jess.
Sorry.
Shut up. And what I've seen of the game does make it look cool, so I guess it really depends on when it's launching. We don't even know if it's launching this year, because it's July and we pretty much know everything that's coming out so far for the holiday. And Hogwarts Legacy hasn't picked a date yet, so that makes me think maybe it's not coming out in November. Maybe it's December, but then it's like nobody releases stuff in December anymore. So maybe it's next year? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. I do have some interest based on my enjoyment of the franchise. Yes.
You're a wizard, Harry.
What about you?
That's what he says, right?
Yes, that's
no.
what he says.
I couldn't possibly care less.
No. Okay. Fair enough.
I think Ubisoft, Warner Brothers makes boring games too, frankly. Which is why Microsoft shouldn't acquire them.
Which is why you think they should acquire Netflix. So let's talk about Microsoft and Netflix, Jez. Why don't you lead this whole conversation off? You wrote an article about it, and you were very excited about it in the DMs. So what's going on with this whole Microsoft Netflix thing?
Excited? I mean, that's probably a liberty with the truth.
No,
there,
I mean that is 100% the truth. You totally, because you were
excited?
like, I really want to talk to you about this. This is so exciting. Yeah, totally.
That's totally not what happened, but
it totally was what happened.
Okay, let's just humor around. Let's just humor around.
So what's going on here? Why did this all start in the first place?
So this all came about because Microsoft announced alongside Netflix that they will be providing the ad platform for the ad-free tier. No, not the ad-free tier. The ad-based tier of Netflix. So Netflix is coming out with a cheaper tier, which is supported by ads. No idea on the pricing yet. But Microsoft will be the exclusive partner who serves the ads. Now, this was very, very intriguing because Microsoft is not who you would think they would have picked for this. Because, per my article, Microsoft's ad business is about $10 billion. With $10 billion is a lot of money to you and me. But Google's ad business is $165 billion for the same period last year. So you would have thought that they would have partnered with a bigger ads partner, But no, they've gone with, for whatever reason, Microsoft. Now, that led at least one analyst on Wall Street to speculate that the reason Netflix chose Microsoft was because they want to cozy up to Microsoft and hopefully angle one day to maybe get acquired. And I thought this is an interesting take because it's not something I ever would have thought possible before the days of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Because now I just think literally anything is possible. Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for a number of reasons, but one of those reasons is monthly active users, eyeballs. There's few companies on Earth that have as many concurrent eyeballs as Netflix right now. So, I was thinking maybe there's some actual sense to this happening, but I don't think you agree with me, do you, Ran? Ran?
I think there's a possibility. Look, at this point in time, like if 3 years ago you told me Xbox and Microsoft would buy Bethesda and Activision Blizzard and Sony would buy Bungie and EA could potentially be sold off to Comcast or Apple, I would have been like, you're absolutely crazy. But look where we are now, right? We're in a situation where there's a lot of investment in gaming and everybody's looking to spend money because inflation is high. So your money's losing its value. So it's like you want to spend something. And when you look at the Activision Blizzard deal, the reason Microsoft was able to get them is because the stock price tanked. And it was low enough where they was like, we can get them for a steal. Netflix. Hold on, Jez. I gotta do something.
Oh, Rand's bail on me again. Is that Shakespeare rocking out? Oh no, it's Rand with his fam. Bear with us, guys. Bear with us, guys. Sausage. I like sausage. Right, sausage. Rand's talking about sausage. I'm gonna have to edit this out of the. The upload on Spotify later. So you guys get in some exclusive sausage chat. Why is Brand talking about sausages? He's muted it. I wanted to know what he was talking about sausages for. I want a sausage now. And no, not like that, chat. Dirty-minded chat. I know what happened last time we podcasted when we were talking about. What were we talking about? Talking about Project Moorcock. And then and everyone twisted it to make it sound dirty. But no, we're not talking about that kind of sausage. Although, if you do want to improve your sausage, 20% off with Manscaped with code XB2. Oh no, where's Rand gone? Guys,
you stream. God, you can do it yourself. You know what I mean? You can. I don't know why you can't.
I was about to take questions, but what, Rand? Why were you talking about sausages?
Because I just ordered a sausage and pepperoni pizza from Palermo's.
Palermo's? What's that?
Yeah, it's a pizza place. I took a picture of it when Cognito was here. But anyways, why is people talking about Project Moorcock and like what were you guys talking about? What are you talking about? You're talking about sausage in the dirty way?
Well,
what's going on?
I was telling people not to talk about sausage in a dirty way.
Oh,
you know? But the chat being chat, they just did it anyway.
So back to transitioning back to the Microsoft Netflix thing. With everything that's gone on recently in the past, I'm not going to be like, this is impossible. So like, I look at Netflix and they've been beaten up, right? Their stock price has fallen, although it actually went back up when they reported they had they lost 1 million subs or whatever.
Yeah.
So I also, when they won that thing for the ad supported tier thing, I was like, that's not Microsoft's area of expertise. Like, why would you partner with Microsoft to do that for your, like, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then this guy came out and was like, I think Netflix is, I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe there might be some truth to that. But at the same time, I don't know, does it make a lot of sense for Mike? We've never gotten any indications from Microsoft that they're interested in entering the entertainment field, have we?
Well, we did back in the day, you know.
Well, no, I mean, like,
the,
running their own entertainment thing. It'd be different from partnering up and, well, I guess
No,
they
no, I
own
mean,
Xbox
back in the
Studios,
day.
so...
Xbox
Yeah.
Studios, that's what I was
So
talking
I guess, so to me, it's just like, this Netflix thing is like, I guess if, like, the stock price tanked enough, where the people at Netflix, the board, were like, we need an out. And everybody, and the government loves Microsoft, and they're one of the few companies that actually has the money to buy them, and actually would need a streaming platform, because Apple has their own, Amazon has their own, right? So they're one of the few that actually potentially would have a need for it.
Yes.
And then you think of, like, the Holy Grail, like what that could do for Game Pass. Like, then you think, man, if you just opened up your Netflix account and there's Xbox games there, and it went out to 220 million people, which is, 10 times the number of subscribers that Xbox has right now with Game Pass at 25 million, right? Like, you think that is, like, the Holy Grail. Because even when you think about, like, what is the upper limit of Game Pass? What is a number they could potentially get to? Like, to me, 50 million is maybe like the almost like the cap of what you could do when you essentially would max out console, right? And get some good push on PC. And if you could make inroads mobile in other countries, it could go higher. But to me, I don't know. Like, I've always viewed like 50 million, 60 million is maybe like the extreme upper limit. Right? We're even looking at like PlayStation Plus. They've kind of like hit a wall almost at like 48, 47. It kind of goes up and then goes back. Like, there seems to be an upper limit of a number you could get to the subscription service because of just how the console and its reach is, right? It doesn't reach that many people. But if you could integrate Game Pass with Netflix, where it's like now there's 220 million people, like, that makes it like, well, that puts like the whole perspective of like, we're everywhere. And, we've talked about like companies, Japanese developers especially, not putting their games on Xbox because they feel like PlayStation's a better choice or PlayStation gives them better deals. But like, imagine a scenario where, Netflix and Game Pass were combined into this one Microsoft Prime subscription of some kind. Now, this is all just like speculation, like the ultimate, like, hopium, right? Like, imagine this scenario years from now, like, if that actually happened, where Xbox could go to like Square and be like, you cannot not put your game on Xbox because you're going to have 220 million people potentially could play it, right?
Exactly. That's the whole thought process behind why it could be possible. It's the eyeballs. Microsoft doesn't necessarily want to be in the entertainment business. They'll probably let Netflix just take over and keep running that as they want.
Plus, like, there's
the eyeballs.
There's things Microsoft doesn't want. Like, Netflix got a ton of debt. Does Microsoft want that debt? They also have a mail delivery DVD service. Like, Microsoft don't want no mail delivery DVD service. You know what I mean?
They also have some very controversial shows, which doesn't fit with Microsoft's image, or at least the image they project. Even though, a lot of those controversial shows are literally on the Microsoft Store. I think like when Microsoft owned Netflix, there'd be calls for them to like remove certain
Yeah,
content
because
that
then they
people
could,
don't
yeah,
like.
like Dave Chappelle. I know there's a lot of stuff with
Exactly.
Dave Chappelle and stuff, but then it begs the question. It's like, okay, like when Microsoft bought Bethesda, so the thing turns to, how does Microsoft buying Bethesda help Bethesda, right? And everybody comes up with all these different opinions, like, oh, well, it helps them essentially make the games they want to make. They don't have to delve too much into games as a service, which we saw them trying to do and failing at it, right? It gives them a nice kind of like, okay, now you're set. Like, you have the backing. You like, just make the games that you want and not have to worry about, like, we need to sell X amount to, like, Arcane Studios. Like, if their games aren't exactly, they don't set the world on fire, but maybe there was a chance if Bethesda didn't sell that some of these studios might get closed. But now there's, that's not going to happen. Same thing with Activision Blizzard. When people think about Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, they think about how Microsoft can help Activision Blizzard, like clean up the company, maybe help the other developers get out of that Call of Duty treadmill and regain their own identities to make new stuff. Like, when we think of Microsoft buying these companies, we think about how Microsoft is going to help them become better and how they'll help Xbox. But with Netflix, I sometimes struggle to think, like, can Microsoft really help Netflix? Like, what is Netflix's problem right now? And does Microsoft have the inherent know-how to actually help fix whatever problems Netflix has? And I'm not sure that's the case. I'm not sure they do. And then you think about, like, well, we talk about the Game Pass thing, but also this is more on the, like, why you wouldn't buy it. Like, Microsoft and Xbox has had a ton of Netflix people work at their company that worked at Netflix and then work at Xbox. I think the former Jarrett West, who's like head of marketing at Xbox, was like, I think, head of marketing over at Netflix or had some high position at Netflix. So, like, the strategy that those people had put in place at Netflix, a lot of that internal knowledge has been brought over to Xbox. So, like, you have people that worked at both companies, so you would know some of the tips and tricks and stuff that they did at Netflix to help. So it's like acquiring the company just for that stuff, like, really doesn't make sense because you already have that knowledge. Plus, like, let's also look at it, Jazz. Like, you're building an app on your smart TV for that you open up that can play games. Do you also have a Netflix app that could essentially do the same? There's kind of, all these other things that go along, right? Like, if this were to happen. But I guess, like, this is one of those things where you never thought it could happen, and now there's a possibility, so you would roll with it, right? So, yeah. I'm never gonna say again it's not gonna happen. I guess there's always the possibility. But then I always look at, like, WB Discovery. You can get them for way cheaper than you could get Netflix. And if Netflix is on such the decline that they're wanting to sell, and people look at Discovery as, like, on the upswing, you get HBO Max, you get the DC Universe. They actually have game companies. Like, maybe there's an argument you can make that would be a better purchase than Netflix was. So, and then there was, of course, the question that Lord Henry asked in chat: how would Netflix improve Xbox? And that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. Like, the clear golden goose is that they have 220 million subscribers, and that if you could tap into that, maybe that's worth the money you would pay. But as gamers, Anthony Chipmunk says Sega's greater than Netflix. So as gamers, I look at this Netflix thing and I just kind of like, I don't know if this really does anything for me personally. I would like Microsoft to more go out and target studios that actually would deliver games rather than a streaming service that I don't know if Microsoft can fix. I don't know what Microsoft offers them outside of money. And I don't think Netflix has a money problem.
I think
So
it's
I don't know.
just about, yeah. I mean, there is some potential plays there when it comes to cloud or getting the IPs even. The IPs could work well in games, What if there was a Squid Game battle royale that was like actually good, or something like that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there'd be a lot of problems. It'd have to really make sense. But I do think there is a lot of sense that it does make, like with the Azure angle, getting Netflix off Amazon Web Services. There's a lot of good IP tied up in Netflix, and it's all them eyeballs. You've got a lot of eyeballs that you literally just slap a track like cloud games, um, slap a track for that, as like right at the top. If they detect that a user, there's also data, user data, right? They can actually like look at all the sort of the user habits that people have, and if they see there's a lot of users that play a lot of games because they watch a lot of game shows, or because Netflix tracking cookies track you all over the internet and build a profile on you, because that's the way it works. The internet works now. They can serve Game Pass to those users specifically and onboard them, and then it would bring benefits to Xbox gamers because, like you said, Square Enix would have to think twice about making games exclusive to PlayStation if it was going to get those eyeballs that go far beyond, what Xbox can potentially get today. So it's all about buying eyeballs. Would it work in practice? I don't know. Because if it was going to be all cloud, then you need a hell of a lot more service than they've got now. I think they announced they're going to double xCloud's capacity over the next year. But, um, it's there's a lot of unknowns there. But it's like you say, never say never. Like we
Yeah.
never thought Activision was going to happen, and look where we are. We've now got Activision and King. We got Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Remember I played Candy Crush the other week?
I
And
remember
I
you saying it.
uninstalled it after 5 minutes.
Yeah. Kayasante says if Microsoft buys Netflix, that takes away the monthly cloud storage bill they pay to Amazon every month. True.
Mm.
But that's a lot of money just to take away a bill to Amazon, though.
Yeah, I mean, they could potentially just partner with Netflix for some of this stuff. They could partner with Netflix for their games and stuff. I don't know. Netflix kind of, sort of, has a deal with Google where Google lets them put games in the Netflix app, but they link out to the Google Play Store, which is really weird. I tried it the other day. Like if you click on like the Netflix in the Netflix games section, you can play Moonlighter, like which is also on Game Pass, but it links you out to the Google Play Store to download the Android version of it or something. It's really weird, but clearly like they've got some kind of deal with Google that lets them do that because you don't have to pay any extra money. It says Moonlighter for Netflix, and then like the download button says get with Netflix, even though it's like the Google Play Store. It's really, really weird. But maybe Microsoft could do some kind of deal with them like that. But again, that might fall afoul of Google Play Store's rules. And this is another benefit that it could bring. Netflix could bring a lot of clout towards manipulating Google and Apple. So, like, imagine if Microsoft says, okay, we're going to put xCloud into the Netflix app for iOS and Android. Are you going to block it? Are you going to really like take off one of the most popular apps in the world off your devices? I can see Apple blocking it because they could push their own Apple TV thing, but then you're going to have regulators being like, oh, Apple's being anti-competitive here. They've banned Netflix off their store to push their own service. So it could help Microsoft politically to get Xbox Game Pass onto the iOS App Store. So there could be a 4D chess move, another conspiracy for you there. Could be a 4D chess move to play there. It'd give them a lot of clout politically and technologically. But will it ever happen? Who knows? But we got Activision. Yes, we did.
We did. We do. And Minecraft, Jez, basically said, fuck you to NFTs.
Yes, they did. They did say "f you" to NFTs. I won't swear because that's very naughty, and it's
That
not.
is very
It's not
naughty, but I
kind of me.
definitely would use this as the one time, the one F word I can use in the show to basically Minecraft giving the middle finger to NFTs. Did you see NFT worlds going crazy about this?
Yeah. So, like for those who don't know, I mean, just bring everyone up to speed. Minecraft actually put out a statement saying they don't support blockchain technology or NFT Minecraft servers in their games, and they will be blocking servers that try to implement that kind of technology. And there is a popular NFT Minecraft world which lets you get like I don't even know. There's some NFT bollocks inside the Minecraft world that you can get, and Microsoft was they were pretty abrasive about it. They were saying like, you know, it can be exploitative and stuff like that, and but they didn't say never. They just said right now. So like they're still sort of like feeling it out, I think. But it's the first time a big major publisher or a game, Minecraft's the biggest game in the world, you know. They've come out and said that no, we're not going to allow this, and that drives a chilling effect over the potential for NFTs, because if the biggest game in the world is saying they're bad, you know, and then that Minecraft server that does support NFTs or wanted to, they put out a statement like saying they were gonna jack Minecraft's code and just rip it
Yeah.
off and make their own version of Minecraft. Microsoft's lawyers will be on them pretty damn quick. But I think it's interesting. You know, we need to keep an eye on it. But it's very interesting given the fact that Square Enix and Ubisoft have obviously they've hung up their, you know, they've planted their flag on the whole NFT bullshit. You know, Ubisoft had its whole quartz thing, which was absolutely lame and terrible, and they can't even talk about it without getting hammered because it's such a toxic PR thing for them to ever market this quartz thing. But they've dipped their toes in and stuff, and oh man, it's just hilarious. And the funniest thing is because of the crypto crash and how much energy prices are right now, it's become like it's become cost negative to actually mine crypto in some situations. Although like they did announce Ethereum is going to ditch the whole mining thing and move to a proof of stake system, which means you don't have to mine anymore to get it or something. I don't really
Mm.
fully understand all that stuff, but it is interesting, and I don't know. I wonder if we'll see some more companies stand up and talk about NFTs, because there was one company who pushed back a little bit on this. Can you guess who it was? A major publisher.
Who was it? Square Enix by chance?
It was Epic Games.
Oh, well, I think they just said that they don't think storefronts should say anything. I don't
They
think.
said
I don't think what.
storefronts. They said something like storefronts shouldn't push. They shouldn't tell developers what they can and can't make. But I thought that's a bit hypocritical,
Mm.
because Epic Games doesn't allow adult themed sexy games on their store, while Steam actually does. So are they not dictating developers what kind of games they can make? And are they not telling adults what kind of games they can play? It's not my cup of tea, Rand, quite frankly. But, you know, those games definitely have an audience. And I think adults should be able to purchase those games if they are so inclined. But Epic Games says you can't, because they're a very, very moralistic company. However, NFTs are not immoral, even though they're literally scorching the planet for no
I've yet
reason.
to see anybody make an argument about why NFTs are needed or useful in any way.
No,
It just seems like a giant scam to me.
it is a total scam. You don't get anything. You get a link to the thing on the server, the company server. You don't even get the NFT. You just get a link to it. So if that server goes boom, you don't get it. You lose it. It's absolutely ridiculous. All you've got left is an address in your crypto wallet, which is absolutely utterly useless. It still needs to hook into a platform in order to have the thing, you know. It's not like you can transfer a 3D object to a crypto wallet. All you get is the address to the thing. It's just dumb as hell. It's the dumbest implementation of blockchain I've seen so far. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Microsoft sees it for what it is. all this stuff could be implemented within a SQL server. I mean, literally, Nintendo does it right now because every single Pokemon that you can upload to Pokemon Home has its own Pokemon ID. It doesn't need the blockchain. All those stats and those moves and the time you caught it, all the ID of those Pokemon that you upload to Pokemon Home are unique to you, and you can trade those Pokemon to other people anywhere in the world. They do all that without the blockchain. They do it with a bloody standard database that has existed since the 70s or earlier. I don't know. It's just dumb as hell. NFTs are the dumbest, stupidest thing in the history of time. And it's all just a big scam. So big rich companies can exploit people with more money than sense. That's the only reason they exist. And it's all a scam. And yeah, I think it's really funny that crypto market crashed.
Yeah, Scarecrow, who's been a member for 29 months, says, sitting with my dogs listening to the best podcast, good way to spend Saturday morning in Australia. Hit the like button, people. Rand, make a Patreon, please. Oh, see, there's someone in favor of a Patreon. So, me and Jez will maybe brainstorm some ideas. Maybe like an exclusive Patreon podcast. I don't know, maybe like every month we could have a Zoom call with people to, I don't know. Yeah, how do we do that stuff? So, oh, look, our buddy Special Nick is in chat.
Oh, damn. Special Nick, who upset the Sony marketing team this week.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Nick's gonna get lawyers knocking on his door, man.
Gotta watch out for those Sony ninjas. They be coming for you.
I
really don't want to talk about this, but I feel like we have to. I mentioned it at the beginning of my video on Thursday, but everybody's talking about Activision Blizzard closing early because the FTC stuff. Supposedly Microsoft sent in their thing for 30 days. You saw this stuff, Jez? I'm sure you did, right?
Which stuff was that? Sorry.
About how the FTC has like 30 days to respond or some shit. Or I saw like a whole video.
And if they don't respond, it goes through by default.
Something like that. But this has led people to think like the deal is going to close by August or September.
Yeah,
so,
it's not.
I don't know.
It's not.
I don't see that happening. So I'm also tired of talking about it and hearing about it. Like at any time there's some movement on some regulatory body being like Activision. Oh, it's like let's get it done. Whatever, as long as it's done before Diablo 4. So Diablo 4 can be on Game Pass. That's all it really is. Although I guess maybe they want it done earlier so they can actually go and work on some of the other acquisition targets because this has taken up all their manpower. So they haven't been able to look at any of the other things that are maybe on the table. Like, if EA is really selling, you think maybe Microsoft wants to be in that conversation, and they can't be because of the, Activision deal, or if somebody's maybe trying to get, Ion or Active, you think Microsoft would want to be in that conversation too. So I guess those are good enough reasons to try to get it done as quickly as possible. But I'm kind of like over the whole thing at this point now, right? I just want it to be over and done with. But that's just me.
I'm tired of it. I just want it to go through, but they've got to get it through the EU. They've got to get it through pretty much every region where Blizzard has employees. So it's not going to go.
You wrote an article. You finally wrote your article about Japan, did you not?
I did, yeah. I did. Took me a long time. I wanted to speak to as many Japanese gamers as possible because, we make a lot of assumptions about what Japanese gamers want and what we think will be popular in Japan just based on our Western ideas of it. But it's far more complicated than that, obviously. And obviously, I didn't want to put words into anyone's mouth. I wanted to actually speak to Japanese gamers and find out what they thought of Xbox and what they want from Xbox, and just sort of pulling in everything that's already out there, the data that's out there, talking about their growth, talking about Microsoft's job listings that they've got going on and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty exciting, what's happening in Japan, but there's still a huge amount of work to do, and maybe they'll never truly claw it back, but they're striking the iron while it's hot. And I think there is an opportunity to sort of grow there. But yeah, I did write an article. But the best thing about that article is I actually asked Microsoft for comment and they responded.
Really?
And shall I read it out to you?
Yeah, read what they said. What they say.
Yeah, so this is Microsoft's response to my article, The State of Xbox in Japan upon Windows Central. This is exactly what Microsoft said. Xbox recognizes Japan as the cultural heart of the video games industry, which I think is a pretty strong statement, right?
Yeah.
Japan is a creative powerhouse that has created iconic characters and franchises played by millions of people around the world. Japan has become one of Xbox's fastest growing markets worldwide, and we're excited to see our community of players in Japan grow through choice in how they play, be it on consoles, PCs, mobile devices, with cloud gaming. In Japan, we are focused on growing our team within the country, creating more partnerships with local creators, and bringing Japanese language localization to more of our games. So they basically addressed like pretty much every criticism that I'd seen in the piece. A lot of Japanese gamers had said to me localization's still bad. Sometimes games don't have voiceovers in Japanese. Sometimes they don't even have subtitles in Japanese. And sometimes even when they do have subtitles, the subtitles are all messed up and terrible. So you know, it's going to be a process. It's going to be an ongoing process, but it's just another one of those interesting incubations that Microsoft's doing right now. They've got the whole cloud publishing incubation going on. They've got the artificial intelligence gaming incubation going on, and then also the investment in first party Game Pass and cloud and all this stuff, and then this sort of upswell in new employees for Japan and also other Asian countries. So it does feel like Microsoft's really serious, about covering all of its bases. It just feels like they've got such an ambitious plan in place right now. And Mike Shades in chat says Xbox needs to make their own Japanese games. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that we need to get back to the Xbox 360 era where, Steins Gate came to Xbox 360 as a timed exclusive, a visual novel. Can you imagine that happening now? A major visual novel like Steins Gate coming to Xbox as an exclusive? I just can't imagine it right now. But these are the things they need to do, and it just seems like they're pushing for it.
Yeah. No, I definitely have to read your article to see what you say about it, but it's good that you wrote it. So, yeah, you know what? Let's end the show there, and let's take some questions before we get out of here. So, if anybody has anything they want to ask, make sure you put it in chat. We'll do our best to answer it. And thank you guys for being here. If you guys do us a huge favor, make sure you hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate that. We will have this available for everybody listening on iTunes and Spotify later. If you do us a favor there, if you're listening to the show on podcast app, if you leave us a review or rate the show 5 stars, it does. It actually does help out a lot to get better engagement on those platforms. So, yeah. What do you what's your plans for the upcoming week?
My plan for tomorrow is get wasted. I'm going to see my friends for the last time before I go back to Germany. I'm going back to Germany next week, and the podcast should become a little bit more stable with the scheduling because my Saturdays will be free again. My Saturdays haven't been free for about 2 months because I've been using my Saturday to go and visit as many friends and family as I can in England while I'm here, because obviously I spend a lot of my time in Germany as well. So, yeah, spending my last Saturday with family and friends this weekend, and next week I'm gonna travel and then take it easy and then play more RimWorld, I think, because I'm super addicted to that game. But I will be, hopefully, we will be podcasting Friday again next week because I think I'll be free and I'll be all set and ready to go, man.
Yeah, we got a question here from George, who says, "What are your thoughts on the Halo Forge leaks? Think Halo can make a comeback like Sea of Thieves?" I haven't seen too much of the Forge leaks, personally, so I don't really know what to say about that. Is it possible Halo makes a comeback like Sea of Thieves? I mean, anything's possible. It's just, I think it's just going to take a little bit more time than Sea of Thieves took. Is Forge the be all end all that every Halo fan's asking for? I don't think so.
Mm.
I think, yeah, I just think there's gonna be. I think they need more time to get everything righted, to steer the ship in a correct direction. Get rid of some stuff that's not needed. Add some stuff that needs to be fixed. Move personnel around to stop working on stuff, to fix the right things and get a constant source of content to come out. And I think there was a lot of bad decisions made at 343 leading up to the launch of the game. And I think they're finally working on setting everything right, but I think it's going to take more time, I think.
I think
So,
never say never, because some games have made epic comebacks. I've been playing No Man's Sky this week, and the volume of content they've added to that game and improved it over time is absolutely the achievement cannot be understated or overstated rather. It's they've done an amazing job fixing up No Man's Sky, and then you got Sea of Thieves. You've also got Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn. Like it's literally called Realm Reborn because they destroyed the entire game world and rebuilt it. In a big in-game event. That game is a success story for the ages. Turning it around. So I want to believe that Halo Infinite can turn it around and maybe give people what they want. Forge, Forge has the potential to deliver a lot of user-generated content, which does give games the sort of ongoing longevity they need to be financially sustainable. So if it is more financially sustainable, that means more investment, which ultimately means the game gets better, hopefully. So we just have to wait and see.
yeah, we got one from Mizzle Shizzle. It says, "Why is Jez too good for us now that he's verified? And when do you think we will see Moorcock?"
Project Moorcock. Didn't they say Project? I can't even remember the proper name of
Moorcroft.
it. Moorcroft.
Next
Isn't
year.
that like towards? Oh, I thought it was towards the end of this year.
I thought it was next year, but yeah. Yeah, why?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a
Jez
while.
is verified now. He's totally changed. The day he got that little check mark on his thing, he
Oh yeah,
totally,
man.
totally
I
changed.
totally changed. I still try to reply to literally everyone. I mean, it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that. But I am doing my best. I might be verified, but I still earn the same amount of money. It's a
Whittier
bit
says, Jez, if Xbox makes a handheld, is it called the Xbox Mini?
Nah. I don't think so. I think Mini kind of gives it the connotation of being a retro console. I think games like the Sega Genesis Mini and the SNES Mini have kind of claimed the whole Mini thing. So I think I don't think that'll work really. I think it'd be called like Xbox Series Go or something like that. Something to sort of emphasize the fact that it's portable. But yeah, we'll see.
Kay Asante wants to know if you speak German.
No, I don't.
Mm.
Nein, sprechen kein Deutsch. Sprechen. I don't speak German. I speak like the tiniest bit of German, but everyone in Germany speaks like at least decent English, which is funny. Which makes it hard to practice because everyone just speaks to me in English. So I don't know.
Aaron says, Jez, do you think it would be smarter for Microsoft to buy Warner Brother and partner with Netflix and move their content there? Have Warner Brothers talented production teams make content for Netflix with Xbox and WB IPs?
That won't happen because they've got HBO Max, right? Isn't Warner Brothers HBO Max?
Yes.
Or am I going crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that'd happen because of that. And also, the problem with Warner Brothers IPs are that they don't fully own the rights to them in Europe, which is why there's no HBO Max in Europe. All their content goes to Sky Atlantic, I think, because Sky own the rights to all that stuff. It's really weird and complicated. I've always said the issue with Warner Brothers is rights management. They haven't done a good job of it. They don't own a lot of their own stuff fully. And I think Microsoft sees that as a big issue if you're making cloud games. So I don't think they will buy Warner Brothers ever, personally. But hey, could be wrong. Never thought they'd buy Activision.
Yep, that's true. Let me see if we got any more here. Nathan wants to know, what games do we think Xbox will have in the second half of 2023?
That's an interesting one.
I mean, think there's possibilities. Possibility of Hellblade 2, Avowed, Contraband, Project Belfry. But who knows? Really, realistically, I don't know. Any of those games could all be quarter, second half of 2023. Maybe it's some of them. A couple of those are 2024. I don't know. It's just who knows? I mean, honestly, it's just we can guess, but I mean, everybody thought Forza Motorsport was this year, and it ended up being next year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there any other game like that you can think of that's closer to release?
No idea, man. Like, it's all up in the air right now. Like, I had someone ask me about Contraband the other day, and it's just like, I have no idea. I think the pandemic's still been pretty disruptive about a lot of timelines in different ways and different amounts of disruption for different kinds of studios. So on my end, everything's kind of up in the air right now. I'm kind of trying to find some more definitive information about it, but Xbox has been pretty locked down since the last year when there were lots of leaks. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait.
Indeed. JD Gamer in the Super Chat says, what is the single most important thing Microsoft can do to truly make Xbox a global brand in a way that is a major competitor to both Nintendo and Sony?
It's still tough, I mean, they're kind of buying their way into it with Activision and Bethesda. They're trying to buy their way into it, but that's only part of the puzzle. I think another huge part of it is localization, a massive part of it. And it's not just localization in the games, but it's localization in the marketing, the social presence. Like, for example, someone who read my Xbox in Japan article, they mentioned that I talked about the Japanese social accounts and how like Microsoft had social accounts in other regions, and they're from Finland, and they were saying that the Xbox social account in Finland is like really bad, and that all they do is sort of translate the memes from American into Finnish, and it a lot of the time it just doesn't kind of work. Like, I think things have to be localized. Everything has to be localized. The marketing has to be localized, not just on a language basis, but also a cultural basis. You need sales teams on the ground who understand the markets you're trying to sell into. And like one of the things someone told me a long time ago about why Sony does better in Europe, in mainland Europe, is because of Sony's sales teams and their outreach to retail in those countries, whereas Microsoft they don't really have that kind of sales rep operation on the same scale as they do in America and in the UK. So it's a lot of things. It's localization ultimately, but localization beyond the games. It's also localization about marketing, social, sales reps, understanding the local culture, understanding the kind of games that should be pushed per region. And I think if they do succeed in Japan, because obviously that's a completely different culture to what Microsoft is used to, they could apply that model to other countries. Hopefully, we'll just have to hang tight, I guess.
Indeed. Anyways, JD Gamer also says, how good of a year do you expect Microsoft to have in terms of content delivery in 2023? A million times better than this year.
Yeah, it's going to be better than this year, but I'm still kind of I'm still nervous to say it's going to be amazing. I'm still kind of maybe it's going to ramp up rather than explode, but
I mean, just based on what we know, I mean, for first half of next year, assuming nothing gets delayed, you have Starfield, you have Redfall, you have Forza Motorsport, you have Diablo 4, I'm assuming the deal gets done before Diablo 4 comes out. So, right? You have Minecraft Legends. You have Aura History Untold. You got Ghostwire Tokyo. That's 7 games from first party in a 6-month window. Not to mention Game Pass titles like that. We saw all the games at like the E3, but like Wolong Dynasty is an early 2023 game, and that's coming to Game Pass. Stalker 2 is probably coming out in the I would say probably sometime in that first half. So I think they're gonna. I mean, just off of that, that's a better year than this year, isn't it? I mean, not to even mention what's coming potentially at the end of the year. So I'd expect like a million times better than what they have this year. Zayong Epon says Gears Collection Fall 2023 question mark. Jez?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
He wants to know if the Gears Collection is coming out fall of next year.
There is no Gears Collection.
And that's
it.
Yeah. No Gears Collection.
There is no Gears Collection. It doesn't exist right now. So yeah.
See if there's any more questions. Justin wants to know if Microsoft were to acquire a video streaming company, do you think Netflix or Paramount would be better? Well, if you're choosing Netflix or Paramount, I would say Netflix is a substantially better than Paramount. But honestly, if you were to present to me Netflix or Warner Brothers Discovery, I might choose this Warner Brothers Discovery simply on the basis that they have game companies that you could integrate. You know? Like also Netflix is downtreading. HBO Max is on the upswing. So and it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's just them rights, man. It's just them rights, baby.
Ulfric wants to know what are our thoughts on Arcane not doing linear storyline games anymore. Yeah, that was interesting. Arcane came out and said that they're not going to do linear games like Dishonored anymore.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't hear that? You didn't see that?
Oh, that's devastating.
Is it?
What does that mean? No Prey? No Prey 2?
I mean, I guess potentially, yeah.
Well, I'm no longer interested in the games Arcane has to offer then. Where did they say this?
It was an interview. Let me see if I can find it.
I found it on IGN.
Yeah, read what it says so you can get the full quote.
Right, let's have a look.
Because Notjack says that's not what the article said, and people are misunderstanding it. So, read what it says,
right.
Jez. What does it say?
It's a big article. I can't find specifically. Basically in the okay, so I think this might be it. What's the benefit of co-op? Well, this is an interview on Redfall and IGN, which I completely missed because I don't really read. I don't read, period. So let's have a quick look. What's the benefit of co-op other than having a good time with a friend and getting extra character banter? Was there a particular reason Arcane wanted to make a co-op campaign rather than another single-player adventure? And then Ricardo talks about, or the person they're speaking to, they're talking about Dishonored. They worked on Dishonored for 8 years, 4 years on Prey, and they said they wanted some creative risk and change. We also always wanted to work on an open world game. Talked about narrative systems. I don't think they actually say specifically that they're not going to do those kind of games ever again. It just says that they wanted to work on a co-op open world game. I don't know. It just says it's just a new space for us to explore, and it was an interesting challenge. What would the Arcane DNA look like in an open world, where we do resources scrounging for ammo and medical and stuff like that? yeah, it doesn't say they're not gonna do it more, but I don't
I'm
know.
down. I'm down for whatever Arcane makes. So
I don't know, man. I I really don't honestly don't like the look of Redfall. So I'm willing to be surprised, but I'm not feeling it right now. But
really, because people are more excited for Redfall after the E3 stuff and the interviews and some of the things they're talking about it than they were before. So
yeah, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But well, I'm trying to keep an open mind. But I'm
just
very much I'm just salty that I'm not getting Prey, really, because Prey
yeah.
One is the probably one of my favorite games ever.
Uh, Josh Wallace says, "Do you think Activision Blizzard gets done in August?" No, I do not. I don't think it gets done this year. Period. I think
No,
it's early next year. Um,
I agree.
Mozam says, "If the Activision deal closes next month, could Modern Warfare 2 come to Game Pass day one, even with Sony have marketing rights? If not, could we at least get the 360 CODs on Game Pass?" I don't think Modern Warfare 2 is coming to Game Pass day one, even if the deal closes. Um, I think they'll put whatever they possibly can on the Game Pass, like when the deal is up, including the 360 stuff. I would imagine. Darren wants to
Yeah.
know any word on if and when the 360 servers will shut down. What do you think, Jez?
Oh.
What do you think? When do you think they'll shut down the 360 stuff for good? Didn't they shut down the X? When did they shut down Xbox? The OG Xbox stuff.
Hmm. I don't know off the top of my head. It's
Is the OG
I don't know.
Xbox servers shut down?
It's gonna be a
Original.
while. Put it that way.
So the servers shut down for the original Xbox on April 15th, 2010.
Mm.
So that wasn't that long
Yeah, but I
after.
guess there wasn't many people playing it. I think Xbox backwards compatibility is probably going to extend the life of the 360 servers for a while. I mean, some specific games might pull out, like if they've got like, you know, if they're paying for their servers, like Ubisoft shut down a bunch of servers for some of their old games. But I don't know. I don't think, at least for the foreseeable, they're going to shut down some of those servers, especially because I think with backwards compatibility, they've kind of made a commitment there. But hey, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll close down eventually, but I don't. Maybe
Mm.
at the end of this generation, beginning of next one. I don't know. Ryan wants to know, what do you think is next for the initiative as a studio after Perfect Dark? That's a good question.
That's interesting.
Perfect Dark 2? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something
I
else?
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like they try and build Perfect Dark as a trilogy, but there's also the complicated problem of Crystal Dynamics no longer being, you know, potentially not being available because potentially Embracer Group's going to want them to work on Tomb Raider. So does that leave the initiative without a dev? To do heavy lifting or whatever. It's a pretty weird situation. So I have no idea. Let's see them get a game out the door first, and then we can start speculating on that. Because man, I am pretty skeptical about Perfect Dark as well, to be honest. So
You're skeptical about everything except Blizzard.
no, I'm pretty damn skeptical about Blizzard actually.
What?
The only the only thing I'm not skeptical about is Todd. Todd Howard, man. The dude can do no wrong.
All right. Well, with that, that is going to be the end of the show. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you guys for being here on this Friday. And we'll be back next week with another episode, hopefully with some more cool things to talk about. So,
Hell yeah. Thanks for staying, everyone.
yeah, everyone have a great weekend and keep gaming. Later.
Take care, everybody.